this man should fall, who will lift the flag and carry on?
I will.
Yep, it's that intro again. I only play that for one reason. We're talking about Charlie Kirk today. The life, the times. I'm not going to tell you that I knew him like a brother or anything. I only knew him online. We'll get into it today. Shit has changed. I woke up one morning and the shit has changed. Shit just got real. Live from Las Vegas, Nevada, at Red One Studios, the Southern Command Center. You got it. Rational Mail. I'm going to start things off today with a little retrospective. See how it goes. Yeah, I only play that intro when someone important has passed. So, when someone has.
Take the first punch. Let's go. Put up or shut up, Charlie Kirk.
You know
Put
what?
Up or shut
so,
up.
first of all, it says very clearly in the Bible that we shouldn't harm those that are worthy of protection, and you obviously are.
You're
the mentally disturbed. Well, I don't usually punch retards, but
just worried I'll kick your ass.
Well on Medicare age. But let's play this out. Despite the obvious fact, and you and I both know who would win this duel. However, hold on a second. This is a great embodiment of the American left. You can't debate, so you want to go to blows. You can't. The only thing that is preventing us from this country from going to civil war is debate and dialogue, and you don't even want to have debate. You want to go and you want to wrestle like a 7-year-old. Who here is actually dividing the country?
No.
So
a gentleman's fist fight. You know what that is, right?
Again, I would like to think that we are elevated above trying to go have a fight in the streets.
Not anymore.
Or a fight in front of 2,000 people. In fact,
correct.
A mark of civilization is that we don't have to go to blows or bullets, that we can have discourse and debate, but yet you're inviting that.
And you know that out here in the West, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Oh, really? You don't debate out in the
Real
West?
men stand up for what they believe.
You guys don't dialogue in the West?
Come on, man. Look, I know.
How about this? Why don't you, since you're a 70-year-old aged elder and you want to have a fist fight with a 31-year-old?
Is that how old you are?
Why don't you tell me what a woman is?
See, I am not here to debate you. I'm here to prove you wrong. Prove you wrong. Prove him wrong. So either put up or shut up. I'll walk away. You tell me right now.
I will say this.
Go.
I will say this. I'm not going to fight you because I don't have to. Because you know why?
You don't have to.
You are acting as if someone who is very desperate, who is clout chasing. We are going to remain peaceful while the left promotes violence. We are going to be the peace because, as Christ our Lord said, blessed are the peacemakers, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Thank you, sir, and get out of here.
The pursuer in the early relationship. Yes. And frankly, I mean, Doug and I have been married, I don't know for how many years now, 18 years, and he's still pursuing me. He's still not sure where it's going to land. It has to be. It's
with apologies to Jedediah Avila. I had this in my archives, and I'm like, this is just too good.
Biologically conditioned.
Yes.
Men and women are for the man to be the pursuer. He's the lion, and you're the gazelle, and he's like programmed to run after you. And if you upend that in any way, you're messing with nature. So that young men should know you do need to make the phone calls. Even if she didn't call you back, you have to be the one to text first.
Here's what you do. You don't chase women. You, again, make yourself into a magnet for women. You will attract the prize, as Megan calls it, and then a prize behind her, and then a prize behind her. You get your life in order.
Thank you very much, Jedediah Avila.
Women is that many of them have unrealistic expectations of the man that they want, a lot of them. And I deal with this all the time. Like, I want a guy that's earning $1 million a year and he's 6'4", and I want him to have a perfect jaw. And I'm like, yeah, that's never going to happen. How about, by the way, where on your list is like, I want someone who will be a good father or someone with good character. So I guess like really disgusting, actually, that you just want someone that's like super rich and looks good.
I remember when Charlie did this one, and this was actually one of the, I think I have actually played this before. But I'm like, he gets it. He's like so close. He's like right on the edge, right on the cusp. And then it just like marches it back and tries to solve 21st century problems with 20th century solutions.
Why don't you want someone that's going to be loyal to you and not cheat on you? Like, oh yeah, I want that too.
Because they don't care. That's the problem. It's like, especially when a woman is like between the ages like 21 and 23, 24, somewhere around there, they don't care. There's a reason why they're not adding that into the list of, prerequisites, Charlie.
Oh, okay. Got it. So basically you want like Ken Barbie doll, and then you'll have like all the good virtues.
Yep.
Notice they don't lead with the virtue. But
yeah, because no man has ever virtued a woman into bed. That's why.
Number 2 is, if you do not have children before the age of 30, there's only a 50% chance that you will have children.
That's a fact.
It's a fact. You can fact check me on that. Yeah. The most depressed people in America.
Actually, that's not accurate, but he is correct. Women lose their eggs right around 28.
America are women without children.
Yep, there you go.
You need to have a destination in your life. If you are on a date and a young lady says, well, what do you do? And you're like, it's a kind of meander. And I go on DraftKings and I own crypto and like, I don't know. And loser. Instead it should be, I'm studying this because of this. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to work for this person. I want to be able to make this much money by this period of time to provide for a family. And I don't care how hard it gets, but I'll provide for you and provide for the kids. And I'll be the protector and the covering over the family. Follow me because I'm going to lead us.
I think this is ironic because he just got, like, in the other video, He was like, yeah, they don't care about that. I'm like, so this is what is going to get you in the door, right?
That's what they want to hear. They want the confidence and the security.
No, it's clearly not, because you said exactly the opposite. This is the kind of stuff that I used to like just lock horns with him all the time. Now, I like Charlie Kirk. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people are going to think that I'm like not about him. I absolutely am. It's just like the only time like I would have like any kind of real debate with him was on intersexual dynamics. Everything else, I'm pretty much like 90% of the stuff he talks about. It's kind of like, Andrew Wilson and I don't agree on every fucking thing, right? But we agree on so much stuff that it's kind of like, it's kind of pointless for us to like, bash heads over just the stuff that we don't agree.
That when life gets difficult and when life starts falling apart, that man will lead them towards security and stability. Because deep down, women have a very well-built and finely tuned, God-given instinct that they'll be able to tell in a man, when the bullets start firing, is this guy going to protect me and protect my kids?
And we just heard that that's not what they're actually after. They're actually after that Ken doll by his own admission. See, this is the kind of stuff that just drove me up the wall about Charlie Kirk, right? Nothing that he had to say about like debate, nothing he had to say about religion, nothing he had to say about politics per se. But like, this is the kind of stuff that he and I used to go after. We used to go at it together. And this was right about the time that he was sort of coming up in like he was on whatever podcast. And that's when I really kind of took notice of him.
And is he going to provide, or is he going to run for the hills? Go look to your grandfather's generation that stormed Normandy Beach, that built this nation, that started big businesses, that went on adventure. If the most important thing
took bullets and died in droves on Normandy Beach. Yes. Yeah, they did that for a reason, Charlie.
For you is just feeling good, you're going to end up miserable. But if the most important thing is doing good, you will end up purposeful.
There you go. Much better. Now, see, here's the thing is, it's not like I disagree with any of that. It's just that it's 20th century old order thinking used to solve 21st century problems. That's the problem.
So let's clear something up. High-value women are not crazy. Benchwarmer women are crazy. So if you're attracting these crazy women, it's because you're picking women who are in their unhinged, unhealed era of life. I know, because I was once one of those women.
Yeah. When I was in my 20s, now that I'm 31, I'm healed magically.
And then you're calling us all the same. But
yes, because you're suddenly healed at 31.
This is what's actually happening. Bench warmers, crazy women, they freak out over text delays. They create drama for no reason. They love bomb you and then they ghost you or breadcrumb you. And they talk
Funny how they all seem to be about 18 to 28 years old when they're bench
about healing and doing the work, but they don't actually follow through. It's just a facade. And they're obsessed with attention and they don't know how to not be in a relationship. Their identity is in a relationship. They give mixed signals.
No woman ever gives you mixed signals.
They play games. They do not communicate directly. They're passive aggressive. They don't know how to set boundaries.
They're all not like me.
They're a hot mess. They're yard sales. I was once a yard sale. All over the place. Ungrounded. Now, high value women on the other
I love this shit. But not me anymore. I'm not like that anymore. Pick me. I
evolved.
hand, there are women who were once very broken and they decided they needed to level up and do the work. So they work on themselves every day, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And they are working towards making better decisions and
now that their body count is in triple digits.
And communicating more effectively. They don't communicate passive aggressively. They know how to set boundaries. They desire peace in their life, not chaos. They will not tolerate chaos at all.
But you used to.
And they're not impressed by potential. And this is what a lot of guys I coach, they talk about a woman's potential. And I was like, we're not doing that anymore.
Not impressed by potential. Yeah, because when you're that late in the game, you got to get the winner. You got to wait at the finish line and hope the winner picks you. That's why. That's why you do, like when you're younger and the other guy is younger. Yeah, you're totally interested in potential. But when you get older in life, when the chips are down, when the eggs start dropping, the closer you get to 40, yeah. Now suddenly it's no more. I had my fun. No more fun for you.
We are not even discussing potential. We want proof. We want to see how they show up today is how they're showing up tomorrow.
Yep. And you know what? When they show up and they don't pick you, don't think that it's not because you're not unhealed or some other bullshit. It's because you're not hot anymore.
And lastly, crazy women have no emotional discipline. They have no filter, no
really
pause button.
And you do.
So when a bench warmer man calls women crazy, what he's really doing is exposing his own dating history. Because high value women, they do not have time for crazy. They are too freaking busy leveling up and becoming the woman that she needed for herself years ago.
So essentially you're saying she's become the man that she wanted to marry. Got it. Thanks. And this chick is coaching women and men for their relationships. All right.
Started off as a very philosophical, anthropological movement.
Yes, it was people who read Ayn Rand.
Right, yeah. or Nietzsche or something like that. They love extremist views that give them the power, give them the secret key to unlock everything. Right?
I see it all, that kind of thing.
And that's so interesting because the incels started off analyzing data science trends among dating apps and say, look, this is where the conspiracy comes from. The top 1% of males get all the females. And so you're right. It's this highly intellectual movement
very much
that gives a sense of extreme political power.
And they were wrong. How?
What I find super interesting about it is that the incels are squarely on the political right.
I don't know about that. I think current events have pretty much put the lie to that one.
They hate the woke, they hate the LGBTQ, they hate the feminist movements. But it's very interesting that they take on what I see to be a lot of the left's kind of intuition.
This fucking guy.
And in an intimate relationship, they do not appreciate an ambitious, driven, successful woman.
Yeah, because it
does not serve them fundamentally.
It also doesn't serve you in the relationship. And I make this very clear. If I go, hey, baby, dinner tomorrow night at 8:30, get dressed and ready. And you're like, ooh, I have a house showing at 8:30. I can't.
You're turned off instantly.
You're not my woman. Your devotion meter is going
because you want a woman to serve you in all aspects, essentially.
Yeah. There's a certain component to when you're with a man,
Notice how quickly that like the slippery slope went from you want the woman to serve you in all aspects. Like, no, we're just talking about a dinner, and she had to show a house. How the fuck did we get here?
You're with that man exclusively. And I think that women go, well, I don't like that. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's okay to feel that way. I want you to recognize how you really desire that for your best interest. And if you can, as a woman, recognize that, you'll start realizing it's my boss or my husband. Someone's telling me what to do. And there's no liberation in the fact that now your 8:30 dinner plans with a person you love is now coming for a guy that needs a paycheck and a quota by a certain time.
If I'm allowed to say this, but most of the jobs women have today, it's just adult daycare with a fancy title. HR, I mean, come on, that's not a real thing. It stands for human redundancy. Executive assistants, they're just calendar babysitters. And middle managers, mostly angry divorcees. And publicists, don't even get me started. They're professional liars with slideshows. These are all ornamental positions in the corporate nursery. Society calls it empowerment.
Hat tip to Aaron Clary.
But why not call it what it is? It's just adult daycare in heels.
I am a calendar executive.
Men find 80% of men disgusting. Men find 20% of women unattractive.
Okay, so this guy cannot be more wrong. Like this is why I do what I do. I have to constantly repeat the 80-20 4.5% rule over and over and over again, so these bald-headed boomers will get it right.
And so that asymmetry per se means that 10% of guys get turned into dark triad narcissists.
Where the fuck are you coming up with 10%? No, dude, dark triad personality traits are inherent. They are genetic. Your personality is overwhelmingly determined by your genetics. Let's continue.
Because they get all the action. They got a roster of women that they're getting. And the other 90.
So don't get a lot of pussy or you'll turn into a dark triad asshole.
80% are going dry because there's no questions. There's no personality. There's no depth. There's no reason to fall in love with a guy if he doesn't pass the looks good on the dating profile.
This tall, you make this much money. And
exactly right.
Yeah, and who's setting those standards?
This is why, this is how it's messing up dating. That's why, by the way, relationships that start on the apps, some of them are great. But on average, when marriages occur pursuant to meeting on an app, they tend to be less stable and they feature less attraction because they're less likely to actually go through the cascade in the right direction and go to passionate, companionate, best friendship.
Yes, let me explain something to you here. Familiarity, comfort, rapport, companionship, compassionate, whatever the fuck you just came out of your mouth, are all anti-seductive traits. That's why dark triad assholes get the pussy.
You mediate any relationships electronically, you're going to have trouble because we're made to be in person.
Yeah, well, he's not wrong about that. What's he saying that's not right, Rolo? Okay, I have to, this is the last one, and I have to preface this one. I apologize in advance for bringing this dumb bitch up one more time, but she just pushed me over the edge one more time.
There's a problem. Yesterday I said,
yes, you don't own a hairdryer and your tits are sticking out. That's the problem.
This isn't the left. It's not us. And it's certainly not my left.
It absolutely is your fucking left. 100% your left, the same left that employed you for the last 3 years, that Progressive Victory, the DNC, Progressive Victory PAC has signed your paycheck for the last 3 fucking years. It is 100% your left, Kyla.
Not any part of the left that I participate in.
Yes, the left you participate in is the politics of personal destruction. It is colluding with people like, admitted sex felon Destiny and Steve Bunnell. Have you parted ways with this guy? And by the way, we've got some video from good old Destiny, but you probably have already anticipated what that's all about. Has she disavowed this guy yet? No. Then it's your fucking left.
But this is the left. These people are part of the left. They are our staffers. They're in our cohorts. They're repping Young Democrats of America.
They're signing your paycheck and making you sign NDAs so you don't rat them out.
They're in our colleges. They are part of the left, and it's a problem.
You are the problem.
Around 2016, we made a deal with the devil. We just welcomed them in as liberals and said, you're one of us, you're just like us.
You made a deal with the devil 3 years ago when Progressive Victory bought your voice and turned you into a sock puppet.
But they're not. They want to take away property rights, and we don't. They want things and are pursuing something in many ways antagonistic to what we believe in, and they're the exact group now reveling in the political violence and assassination of Charlie Kirk. And
you mean like Destiny did 3 times already? That guy? Is that your left, Kyla?
Every major political pundit that is left-leaning denounced the violence.
Except for Destiny, the guy that you're still defending, even though he is now facing 4 separate lawsuits and has provided an underage girl with pornographic material. His words, not mine.
Overshadowed by this hateful crowd. And
you mean like, oh, I don't know, falsely accusing me of having an alt account on Twitter that was a racist account to the point where people were making videos and accusing me of the same thing? You mean those kinds of tactics, Kyla?
The left has to reckon with this. There's also something else really insidious going on.
Yes, you trying to whitewash this entire thing.
Yeah, I came out today and talking about the Charlie Kirk case, saying that they are being inundated with bots from China and from Russia, particularly on social media, spreading misinformation.
Kind of like the DNC would do. Kind of like, oh, I don't know, the political action committees that were funding you and paying for your voice and giving you paid or putting basically paid content in your mouth. Those people?
And inciting violence.
Strange that they would do such a thing, Kyla.
It is time for the silent majority to actually speak up. I'm not Erudite. If you want to hear more from the silent majority, like, follow, subscribe.
I love how you're now the silent majority. You are not the silent majority, Kyla. Sorry, not sorry. Go fuck yourself. Go and show your boobies somewhere else. Nobody wants to see them. Go get a fire. Go buy a hairdryer at Walmart, okay? Please, for the love of Christ, stop it. No one believes you. You're full of shit. You took money from the DNC. You took money from Progressive Victory. It is everywhere. No one believes you. The very fact that you haven't disavowed Destiny yet is all the proof anyone needs. So if you're going to say, oh, this isn't us, well, you need to go have a really long conversation with your boyfriend, Steve Destiny Bunnell, because the guy was basically jumping for joy, just like he did when President Trump got, well, with the first assassination attempt. Exactly the same thing. When is that going to happen? When are you going to sell him down the river? You might as well now, since the money's dried up from the Progressive Victory. You might as well go and do that right now. You want to impress me? Cut ties with everybody. Really, seriously. No one believes you. You're full of shit. Go away. No one cares about you anymore, or your tits, or your unwashed hair. No one cares. Seriously. Go away. Hi guys, welcome. L boobs. You know what's funny is I found that I actually found that on Instagram, as you might guess, and then of course I go foolish me. I go and I post it on Twitter, you know, because I knew I was going to talk about it on this show. Yeah. And I posted on Twitter. What do you think the first responses were from anybody on Twitter? Would still would bang her. She's got great boobs. What a nice rack. Like, are you listening to what she's saying? No, they don't care. All you have to do, like, there's a meme. It's for women. It's like, it shows this chick and she's in this really tight, fitting sweater, and she's like playing with her boobs or something like that. And she says, if you're ever losing an argument, just play with your boobs, and suddenly you'll win the argument. Okay, well, guys, what a week it has been. I did a show on Charlie Kirk with Mike the day that it happened, and I was hesitant to do it. I actually kind of wanted to jump on it as quick as I could. The thing is when something like this happens, everybody has to it's whoever's first to the punch.
Yeah.
because Charlie Kirk, put that in the title, and suddenly you're going to go higher in the algorithm because everybody's looking for it right now. And usually when I do that, yes, Ryan Stone follows a different path than Rollo Tomasi when it comes to stuff like this. Let me explain to you. But I remember, I know what it was. I first experienced this when I was on the You Are Here podcast with Sydney Watson and Elijah Schaefer, and I forget who else was on that show. This was like back in December of 2021, I think, and they flew me out to Texas. I did Elijah's show, and I did 2 shows of You Are Here, which is now completely gone. I was on the Blaze, which is Glenn Beck's network. And we were about 5 minutes away from going live because it was a live show, and the Jussie Smollett verdict came down. And you know what they did? They paused the show, changed the title because they knew they were instantly going to start talking about Jussie Smollett because they wanted to be the first to the punch, right? And I get it. You have to do that, especially when it was a new show back then. And I'm around and they're not. But everybody needs to jump on stuff as quick as possible because unfortunately that's the nature of this business. It's appear or disappear. And there are certainly, you really want to know what my stack is? Really? It's appear or disappear. And I have been on the sharp end of that stick because I don't like to go off half-cocked because everybody wants to run me up the flagpole as it is. So, for instance, if I had done an emergency podcast on my own channel and started talking about what was going on with Charlie Kirk and with the assassination and everything that had gone on, I would be behind the curve because now a lot more has happened since then. They've caught the alleged or who they think anyways was the gunman. The gun child, I should say, and his transsexual lover, transgendered lover. And I don't think that's going to trigger the algorithm because I'm just reporting back what the news has already said. So, so please, I know that I'm under the microscope. So if I seem like, other than the last rant I just had, if I'm under the microscope, it's because everybody is under the microscope right now. And I'm going to talk about a few things. There's a sort of a bigger context to this, which is interesting because I kind of wanted to get to today's topic, where really there is a topic today. But I'm going to talk about Charlie Kirk here in a little bit, and at least my sort of recollections and my memories of Charlie. And yes, I did have some back and forth with him in the past before he was Charlie Kirk, right? There's he really shot up in the last, I would say 3 to 4 years, I think. And I remember when he was going on whatever podcast, and I had already been aware of him because whenever TPU, Turning Point USA came around, there was always a video or a clip or something that he would say. There's always these guys who want to, and it wasn't just Charlie, it was other presenters at TPUSA. They would always have something to say about, just go and get married. Remember, it was about 2 years ago, I think. It wasn't Charlie, it was somebody else who was one of the speakers there, said, men, just get married. Just find yourself a little old wife and just get married. And don't think about it, just go and do it, because you'll be better off if you just go and get married and you'll start your life and you'll be on an even keel or whatever. Or listen to somebody like Mark Driscoll say, men are better. Men are like semi tractor trailer trucks, right? They drive straighter with the full load, which sounds a little weird now that I think about it. But you know what he was saying? He was just basically, take on as much responsibility as possible, meaning go get married, have kids, whether you can afford them or not. And I think what's funny is it was the same demographic or the same ideological demographic of people who would say well, if you can't feed them, don't breed them, right? What do you want me to do? And then, I always throw these guys off, and I never get any traction with people like Michael Knowles or Matt Walsh, or really, Charlie Kirk. We had some back and forth, but once he sort of became Charlie Kirk, that was the end of the conversation. But they don't know what to do with me because I'm the godfather of the red pill. I wrote, the Rational Male series of books. I wrote the first one, which is the Bible of the Manosphere, Bible of the Red. I don't feel that book behind me. I'm not ashamed to say that is the research and development of the red pill and the manosphere for the past, 2 decades, basically. I don't think I'm glossing myself. In fact, if anything, I'm trying to be a little bit more, I'm probably overly humble about that, but let's just be honest. This is the book that everybody goes and steals their shit from. Second of all is I'm also been married for coming up on 30 years. I have a daughter who's been married for 2 years. I am arguably one of the best trad cons that these guys could possibly want to have on their shows, and yet they think I'm a son of a bitch. Well, I don't know. The reason is they don't know what to do with me. Because if they have me on their show and I go, well, let me explain something to you, I at least attribute in greater part the success of my marriage to that book right back there. Yes, to understanding female nature, male nature, evolutionary psychology, the interplay, the confluence of men's nature and women's nature, according to sort of a red pill awareness, yada yada. Again, keep going, et cetera, right? They don't know what to do with that. It's just like when James Sexton went on to discuss divorce and all of the sort of complications, the complexities of modern marriage and modern divorce today with Matt Walsh, who looked like a deer in the headlights for about 2 straight hours because he didn't know what to do and didn't know how to respond to it because there's no way he could. He was using exactly the same debating techniques, or is using exactly the same statistics and using the same sort of methodology, let's say, as Charlie Kirk would when he would go and to these colleges and have these debates and have this open discourse between himself and the rest of these people, which that's what I wanted to point out from the get-go here, from the rip, is that was one of Charlie Kirk's greatest strengths, I think, was the fact that his commitment to open debate, his commitment to actually having sort of open inquiry. Now, the problem that I had with Charlie is that once he could be put on the spot with statistics, like I don't know how Charlie would have done with James Sexton discussing divorce and everything else. He probably would have nodded in agreement because there's nothing else you can say. Like, he's going to be able to outmatch you when it comes to statistics and it comes to his experience in the divorce industry. He's going to be able to just completely crush you with any counter argument you might have. So what happens is when you have guys like Charlie, who was very intelligent, who was a very good debater, who was a master of emotional control. And that's something that I had to learn from Pat Campbell, right? Master of emotional control. When somebody wants to fight him, when somebody wants to rile him up, when somebody wants to sort of like raise their voice or cry or laugh or mock or whatever else, he's just 100% on point the whole time. Very much a practice skill, and it is difficult to do something like for an average person, even myself. For an average person, it is very difficult for emotional self-control, and the best way that you can do that is to be just eminently prepared for any kind of counter arguments, because what happens is when you get into these situations, when you start talking to these people and they run out of gas, so to speak, when it comes to counter arguments or their debate or whatever, that's when they resort to emotional reframes. The problem is that the right, the conservative right, the religious right in particular, do the same thing. Because once they run out of gas, they go, well, it's in the Bible, so you can't argue with God, so there you go. Scripture says X, Y, and Z. Well, okay, that's fine for your religious book, but where are you with respect to the statistics and the data and the facts that I've just presented you? Do you have a counter argument that? No, I don't, but it's in the Bible, so I'm going to go with that. That doesn't win an empirical argument. That might win an emotional argument, and the people around you might say, Christ is king. Yeah. You didn't win the argument. You just did what's called an emotional reframe, which is exactly what the left does too. I've mentioned this before on several different occasions when it comes to, like, say, Fresh and Fit, or certainly on I've seen you will see this at 5:00 today on whatever podcast, because I guarantee you it happens every single show. When women run out of a counter argument, or they run out of any kind of like sort of empirical logic, and they start this way. People say, oh, they're always delusional, Rollo. What's wrong with you? No, they start out good, but they run out of gas. And when they run out of gas, that's when it's, who hurt you? That's when it's, you should get outside and touch grass. Do you know any actual women? Have you ever been in love, Myron Gaines? Or what was your family like? Is your family still like, they become like, they become armchair, like you got to be on a fainting couch and talk about your childhood, right? You have unhealed wounds, Myron. This is why you're like this, Rolo. Like, I'll get that. Sometimes they won't even they won't even start with that. Like, I had Coral ask me this too. She's like, what was the event that made you evil? And she didn't say that literally, but like, that's usually how it starts out, right? Who hurt you? It's just a rephrasing of who hurt you, right? Because no one else on planet Earth would think like you. No one else on planet Earth could ever logically sort of follow the path from deductive reasoning to deductive reasoning to come to the conclusions that you do, because you're just not normal. So what was your childhood like? It's like, do you have a counter argument to what I just said about women's nature, men's nature, hypergamy, this, alpha widow, that, blah. Do you have any counter argument? No? Okay, well, then I guess we can talk about my childhood. It was great. I had a great time. I'm completely healthy. You know what? I never needed healing because I was never unhealed to begin with. Now, can we move on? Like, it's what's called an emotional reframe. And women do this all the time, especially when, like, on Fresh and Fit. I became acutely aware of this on Fresh and Fit because we would start the show out, and we do this on Access Vegas too. I'm not saying we are mea culpa. We're not, immune to this as well. But the women will come on the show and they'll be sober and they'll have a real good debate with myself or Mike. You'll notice that most of the really good back and forth exchanges that we have with the girls is like within the first hour of the show. That's because they're only one White Claw in. But it's what I call the point of diminishing returns when it comes to argumentation or point counterpoint kind of thing. I'm not even going to call it debate because I don't really think there is such a thing as debate anymore. I'll explain to you about that too. Asking about my shirt, this shirt? Yes. No, it is not a neo-fascist thing. Please, for the love of Christ, go look up the Imperium of Man. Go look up the Master of Mankind. Go look up Warhammer 40,000. Thank you. Asking about this shirt. Really, Sam hits me up and he just texts me right now. He's like, "Wait, stop the show. You've got to explain the shirt." Do I really need to? Me, of all people, I need to explain the shirt? Okay. Yeah. It's not the Legends of Zelda. Trust me, there's no Zelda in the 41st millennium. There's only war. But anyways, no, it's the point of diminishing returns. And what happens is like the girls are sober and then they drink a little and drink a little and drink a little. And what happens is like right about the first hour, you kind of get to the bell curve top. And that's where you're going to have the really good conversations. And then it starts to come down. And when it starts coming this way, it's usually when there are 2 or 3 White Claws in, or I don't know how many shots that is. And then it comes off. And that's when you hit the point of diminishing returns. And usually that's when Myron starts kicking bitches off the show. Because that's when they get belligerent, right? I mean, when you especially when you're a chick and you're used to people giving you this default, like just unquestioned, beyond reproach, deference and respect. And then suddenly you get a little bit tipsy and the empirical points that Myron is making or Rolo is making or Brian from whatever podcast is making, suddenly it sounds offensive to you because you're buzzed first. And then what happens when you lose your inhibitions? Ladies, I'll wait. What happens is you get belligerent. That's when the true nature comes out, right? There's and Lord knows I worked in wine and spirits for long enough to figure this out on my own, that when you put alcohol in somebody, that's when you kind of understand what they're really about. There's likes to fight guy, the guy who just wants to kick your ass, just like, and for any freaking reason. And then there's the chicks who just like, I want to cry. Oh, my mom did. She hates me. And then there's like laughing, haha, everything's fucking funny drunk. And then there's verbal diarrhea drunk, like, and you're saying this kind of stuff. And it sounds like you're saying stuff like this, and you have this 100% like logical conversation. But what's coming out of your mouth is actually what came out of the mouth of that one Australian chick who was on the show 2 weeks ago when we were on Access Vegas. It sounds reasonable, but it's just blah, blah, blah. It's like you trying to like talk your way out of like a DUI. Officer, I'm not think as you drunk I am.
Yeah, all right. Yes.
Get out of the car, man. No, alcohol is not possession. It's truth serum. That's what it is. That's when the real shit comes out. And if you are belligerent drunk, or if you are a woman who has a high, very high, perhaps in no way unearned, egotistical opinion of yourself, well, that's going to come out the more White Claws you put in. So what happens is then you get to that point of diminishing return and you don't really have that conversation anymore and it's gone. Well, God bless Charlie Kirk, because Charlie would put up with bullshit like that one dude who's like, I'm a real man, and here in the South, we go and have a gentleman's quarrel. Okay. And you know what we do? We shout at clouds and we tie an onion around our belts. And that was good luck. And the girls really liked that back in the day. You can bewilder a woman with a slice of cheese. Like the patience of fucking Job, man. No, sir, I'm not going to beat your ass. Especially when you put like 2 or 3 drinks in the guy, right? Which probably was the case, right? But why does the guy thinks he's going to go up there and like beat up Charlie Kirk, right? First off, that's not going to happen. And second of all, you can't be that dumb. Well, maybe you can. You are that dumb. You're so dumb that you think you going up there is going to and challenging Charlie to a fist fight is going to go over well with the crowd behind you. What? That's why I was told Fresh, like when Fresh would be like, yeah, I'll get into the ring with Preach, or with, I forget who was the last one he like challenged a fight. I'm like, oh, Fresh, just don't. We know you're not going to do this. Okay. You're not. Remember when BitBoy got into the ring? Mm-hmm. That's why I'm like, I got respect for Ben, man, because he is in no way, in any way, shape, or form, in shape enough to be doing what he was doing. He still got in there. I thought he was going to die from like heat exhaustion or like, hypertension before he even threw one swing, right? But he got in and he did it. So to his credit, mark one up for BitBoy for doing that. But god damn, man. But that's the thing is like when it comes to debate, that's the one thing I do respect Charlie Kirk for. His religious views are aligned very well with my Sneeko would have, although I don't know, because Sneeko doesn't have the body weight that Fresh does. If Fresh connected, like full on connected with like, got his back into a swing, he would lay Sneeko out. But I don't think he has the skill to do that. Sorry, Fresh. I love you like a brother, but Sneeko's got the reach. He's a little quicker than you. It'd be like punching. It'd be like Glass Joe trying to beat up Mike Tyson. What is the wait? Piston Honda. Oh Jesus! I try to think of all the like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out characters. Yeah, Charlie was cool, man. He was, and so I'm glad you got into that. Okay, here, right? Thanks for that. And since Caps Lock Hustler, I'm going to get to that in a minute. But one of the things I led off with here, like I said, I'm sort of stream of consciousness here with it when it comes to Charlie, because I'm trying to give you guys like what my impressions of Charlie was. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I was a huge fan of Charlie Kirk. I was not. Do I think he should have been shot? No, I don't. And I'm very much opposed and against the people who did that. Okay. I'm very much opposed and against the people who are dancing on his grave, pissing on his grave, laughing, and by and large, mostly liberal women who are the ones who are just gleeful about this entire thing. I'm going to get to that here in a little bit and tell you why I think that is. But when it came to sort of his positions ideologically, we might agree, right? So I am not a conservative. I am definitely not a liberal, okay? Like the people on a TradCon side, I punch that way. And the people on the leftist, liberal, wokesy bullshit side, have always punched that way. I don't care what your particular ideological stripe is. If I think you're wrong, I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. If I think you're right, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to get behind what you're talking about as well. So, are there things that I would have gotten behind when it comes to Charlie Kirk? Yes, and I've probably said them a million times on this show, right? Especially when it comes to what he was talking about with trans activists. I don't necessarily align with his what I think is what was a very naive take on modern women today, and being able to solve that by just getting married, right? The last time I was critical of Charlie Kirk was when the last TPUSA. Remember when I was talking shit about Nala Fit being on TPUSA? That is 100% pure political fucking theater on the part of TPUSA. She should never have been on that. If you want to maintain the integrity of that organization and those conventions or whatever, those talks, whatever, don't degrade or debase the integrity, such as it is, of your organization by thinking you need to clout chase Nala Fit because she's playing the game on you. Because I got baptized. I'm a born again Christian. And what did I say? What did we find out later on? She's got all these courses that you can go buy into, how to be a new Christian, how to be a previous porn wife and be a Christian, like all of these things. And basically she's doing funnel marketing for herself in a different fashion. She just pivoted out of OnlyFans into your group, into evangelical Christianity, into conservative political, traditional conservatism. And women are just like, oh, come here, let's hug you, come in here. The prodigal daughter hath returned. No, she's playing you. And that's why I was very critical about that. And on that same TPUSA, that's when Charlie Kirk was saying, and I quote, what was it? You're not allowed. You as a man are not allowed to have a PS5 until your wife is a woman of leisure. Until you can pay for everything, you can retire her from ever working. You can have you could basically be Charlie Kirk, right? Because his wife didn't have to work, and his two kids were pretty much taken care of, and he was Charlie Kirk. He could pay for it. He was the man. I retired Mrs. Tomasi about 4 years ago. I still, to this day, support her. I support my mother-in-law. I support my daughter to a greater extent. I have people who are dependent on me financially. I'm not going to name names, but they know who they are. And I'm happy to do it. I don't go, I'm a real man and my dick is bigger because I do all of these things. Hey, you know what, Kyle? Now I can go get a PS5. Oh. Fuck yeah, I can play Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2. What kind of symbol is that? Is that Germany? No, it's worse. Yeah. No, I don't gloss myself. It was 4 years ago. Did I do a special show about that? No, I didn't. I don't even like to talk about it. Well, the only reason you would even know about that is because Adam Sosnick dragged it out of me about a year ago when he still had a show, right? Yeah. No, it wasn't Walsh. It was Charlie Kirk who was the one who was talking about it. You're not allowed. What was it? You're not allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to have hobbies. You're not allowed to have. Can't play video games. They really don't like video games on the more extreme ends of the right. Pornography. Oh my God! You're not allowed to rub one out until you can make your woman a woman of leisure, and then she should be sucking your dick anyways, right? Because you've completed your mission as a man. And that's the other thing I get is like this isn't the only time he's ever said something like this. It's like over and over and over again, like I was saying before. In that one video that I showed you guys where he's saying, when you go on a date what do you tell that woman? Oh, I don't know. I have crypto. I'm like, I don't know if I have a lot of crypto. I think that like women will be really? How much do you have and what's in your wallet? Are you holding Solana?
What are the 12 words?
Yeah.
What's your
what are the 12 words for your passcode? You know, it's funny. He might be right though, because I know a lot of crypto bros that come out to the conventions, like all the prostitutes. You're like, like they put, you need to be worried about getting roofied if you're a crypto bro in Las Vegas, because the chicks will roll you here. And take it all. Here's my passwords. But no, I mean, like that's a bad thing to be like to have crypto. Like Charlie, if you got a lot of money in crypto, that's not a bad thing. And in fact, it means you probably are you're at least crypto savvy. And what gets me is like people who aren't crypto savvy think that it's some sort of like, well, you're not really producing anything. No, I'm producing money in my wallet is what I'm producing. I'm playing the great American game that you are. I'm just doing it better with a new technology, right? You should be proud of me. I'm technically an entrepreneur. My studio is my office. And I just do trade view all day. That's all I do. But no, I mean, it's the funny thing to me is like there's the real man qualifiers, and tradcons do the same thing that even liberal lefty wokesies do. Like you'll hear like wokesy women who will say like, well, a real man doesn't care if his wife cheats on him. He goes and still puts and pays child support for kids that aren't his, right? You'll hear the exact same thing from tradcons. Like they just wrap it. The Bible says you're supposed to take care of the widowed, single mother in her single mother ministry, right? There's no admonition for single mothers in evangelical Christianity. It's like, come on, we'll find you some sucker, and he'll marry, he'll wipe you up. Right? Don't worry about it. You get a redo because Christianity is based on forgiveness. So you're forgiven, sister. Hey, brother, she needs some help. And you know what? The Lord would very much approve of you, I don't know, making your genetic line go extinct. But the Lord said, yeah, go right ahead. But yeah. Anyways, let me get to these. I got to clear these out. We're almost, whenever we get towards 10 super chats, that's when I got to clear them out. Sir, Mr. Jason, what's up, brother? I really hope this is not the direction America is going in, because if this is the price of freedom of speech, it's definitely way too high for all of us. Free speech won't be free anymore. No, sometimes you have to water the tree of liberty with what? I'll let you answer that, because I probably I will probably trigger the algorithm if I told you the end of that one. I'm trying to be diplomatic today. Please don't demonetize me. I won't say those words you don't want me to say. I am a well-behaved content creator for YouTube. Why are you shadow banned, but woke cult leaders like Destiny Erudite are allowed to spread their hate to Tyler, his male girlfriend, and Gen Z? I would never put it in such harsh, vulgar terms. Marriage causes divorce. Not me. I would never say anything like that. But you did. So thank you for your super chat. I think your answer is the answer to your question is in the question itself. It is the question. There's your Zen answer. Hey, Rolo, I ordered the spiral version of the Rational Mail. I'll post a pic when it comes. I also bought a used Rational Mail book to put in my neighborhood library. Evil laugh. Go give him the evil laugh.
Your court praises your efforts, CHD. Glory to chaos undivided.
Yes, Siege is referring to a tweet I made not too long ago, which is like, go buy an extra copy of the Rational Mail, please, available on Amazon. Go get it now. And then we have this program where you just take it and you go down to your local library and you put it in the gender studies section of the library. This wasn't in the Dewey Decimal System. what is this? If you really want to do it, go buy the whole series and just push it in there. Sooner or later, somebody go, oh, these have been unlogged. We're gonna have to put them in the system. That's what I'm hoping will happen. Yes, especially if you have a college library. I don't know, do colleges even still have libraries anymore? Go put it in the college library too. And then also, if you have those little local libraries, where you have to leave a book, take a book, those things like the little neighborhood libraries that are in like a little hutch kind of thing. Definitely, somebody sent me a picture of them doing exactly that, like be ungovernable. Value your speech and use your voice as a weapon, and let truth be your arsenal. Okay. Thank you very much. We're going to talk about truth being your arsenal really quickly here. Rip Charlie, rest in peace, Charlie. Obviously, he was not red pilled. No, as far as intersexual dynamics, but really, who is other than Rollo, Ryan, and I? Yes, you, of course. Thanks, Rollo. Love the stream. Love you too, brother. What's your name? Project Althea. Love you, bro. Love you back, man. No homo. Oh God, now I'm gonna get banned. The Ryan Stone interview, they don't give those kinds of antidepressants to men. Yes, thank you. My biggest beef is with the just marry these women crowd. Yeah. Your biggest beef? Discretion in who or how, if you marry through PFP, should be the part of the discourse. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is you don't see that, because you'll hear, and this is topic du jour in most like conservative circles, is they love to bang the gong and raise awareness about the fertility crisis. And the time for that was 1975, because that's when we dropped below replacement levels. Courtesy of the 10 years of, I don't know, hormonal birth control and free on-demand abortion. But now suddenly it's a crisis, and everybody is losing their minds over it not Elon Musk. Elon Musk, what does he do? He tweets all the time. The fertility crisis is the greatest thing, the greatest challenge that's meeting humanity right now. And yet he was the one who decided that he was going to give abortion passes to all the people at Tesla and SpaceX. And as far as I know, are still in effect right now, Elon. So that if women wanted to cross the border from a non-abortion state into an abortion state, that Tesla and or SpaceX would fund that, would give women a stipend to go over into the abortion state, get the abortion, then go right back to work at at SpaceX or Tesla. Right? So Elon Musk, until you disband or I don't know, erase that program anymore, I don't want to hear one fucking word from you about the fertility crisis, because you are literally the problem. Okay? I'm not saying I'm for abortion. I'm not saying I'm against abortion. I'm just against your hypocrisy. So shut the fuck up until you go and eliminate those programs, and then you get to talk about the fertility crisis, Elon, which you should probably still not be talking about, since you've got 14 baby mamas or 14 kids with 8 baby mamas, something like that. Yeah. I compare Kirk to Tony Robbins doing TPUSA pep rallies. Yeah, that's what they are. Imagine if Tony is gone and his wife takes over the pep rally. Would people come to see his wife? They will, for a time. Kirk's wife just put out that very emotional, I just saw clips of it. I didn't see the whole thing, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it's just, I can't imagine what she must be going through. It's just mind boggling to me. And if I have sympathy or empathy for anyone in all of this besides Charlie, of course, it's his wife and his kids right now, because that cannot be it's hard. It's hard for me to even just contemplate something like that. Like, Charlie was 31 years old. I'm 57. If I die tomorrow, who cares? Fuck, get that guy out of here. Maybe Kyle will care, because he likes doing Sunday shows. But nobody else. Who cares? See, nobody cares.
I'm the silent
Nobody
few.
cares. Yeah. Maybe some people would. But that guy was old. Yeah, he had his time. Get him out of here. It's like Logan's Run. Get him out of here. But Charlie was young. And so he had a lot of potential. And I'm going to, you know what? I might as well just say this right now. When I first saw the videos, like the multiple videos, it wasn't just the one infamous video. Like I'm talking about, it's so many different camera angles. And I'll tell you, it was visceral, in your face, and it was horrific is the best way I can put it. Now, Kyle, I don't know if you remember this because this might be before your time. Okay. But do you remember a video series? And this is back when we had video VHS tapes. So probably is before your time. VHS tape. And I don't think you could get them at Blockbuster, but like mom and pop places where they would have like, have to go behind the curtain to go get like porn or something like that. Well, behind that curtain was not just porn, but it was also this video series called Faces of Death.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
Do you remember Faces of Death? Okay. Twitter is Faces of fucking Death now. Okay. I remember when how old was I? I was like my late teens, maybe early 20s. And I had a friend of mine go, yeah, man, come on. We're going to drink some beers and watch a Faces of Death thing. And I'm like, oh, is that like a horror series? Like a horror movie? Well, it is, but it's real. And so it's like, it's the first time I ever saw a circus tiger trainer have his arm literally pulled off of his body from that. And you know what? That's called Tuesday on Twitter right now. And so to see something as horrific in real time and in reality as Charlie Kirk essentially bleeding out, let's just be honest. I remember seeing that, and it was Mike and then Tristan both hit me up because they were in the same chat, and they're like, "Have you seen Charlie Kirk died?" And I was like, "Holy shit, Charlie Kirk's gone!" Like, what are we talking about? And I forget where I was. I was in the middle of something, and so I went and I looked, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And Tristan hadn't seen the video yet, right? And I'm like, "Dude, I don't usually say this, but don't go searching out the video, especially if you just finished lunch or something like that. Just don't, right? Because it's real. It's Faces of Death, right?" Of course, Tristan did, but like I told my wife too, because my wife hit me up. She goes, "Did you know that Charlie Kirk just got shot?" And I go, "Yeah," and I go, "He's probably gone because I saw the video, and I don't want you to watch the video." She watched the video. Everybody watch the fucking video. I can't tell you don't go looking for the video, because if I tell you not to go look at the video, what are you going to do? Go look for the video. So, but the thing is like, I remember when the Faces of Death VHS tape, which was something that was so horrific that they had to keep it behind like the curtain area of the mom, and you couldn't get it at Blockbuster. You could only get it from like these sort of like no-name mom and pop places. And it was so horrific because it was actual videotape stuff. And that was much less. They had to go and find videotape of that actually happening to make a compilation of it. By the way, there's multiple compilations of these, right? But they were actual deaths that were videotaped, and not because they were like trying to videotape it. It was because that they happened to be right there when the shark cut the guy in half, right? Or whatever it is. And so, but now, what is it? The fight videos, the fight video channels on Twitter, where the person is just getting beaten down to like basically murdered, right? Or you'll see the cop shooting videos or whatever, or maybe it's just like the crime videos where the guy tried to go and bump off the jewelry store, and the jeweler has a sawn-off shotgun and just literally blows the arm off of some guy, right? We're like, yeah, well. What did he say before all of this happened? Like, who cares? He just lost his fucking arm, right? God, I love like, well, that guy deserved the beatdown. Well, how do you know? Well, how do you know what happened beforehand? Maybe he said something the other day really pissed the other guy off. Enough to basically blunt force trauma him to death. So, is there anything that guy could have said that would have justified like manslaughter? Well, he called him the N-word. Bad. Maybe he deserved a black eye, but death? All right, that's a thing. And that's what I wanted to get at here is like, I'm sure you guys have seen the video of the guy right after, just immediately after the shot, and Charlie collapses, and then there's that guy with the long hair, and he's like, yeah, like that guy knew. That dude knew what was going to happen. That's what I'm talking about right there. It's not real to these guys. Like Faces of Death. When I first saw that, I could get the shit going up. You get the little feelings in your tongue. Like if you see somebody get cut, or like shit, I can't even like go to the ER and see somebody like, with a laceration or something like that without getting that kind of creepy crawly feel, right? Like that's a natural human, response. It's a revulsion response is basically what it is. It's a natural human response, but you know what? Not to these guys, not to these people, because it's a video game. It's the blood coming out, all this blood and everything else. That's just Unreal Engine. That's what that is. It's a video game. It's Helldivers. Right? it's when you hack the Tyranid Termagant in half, and it's just this blood spray, this red mist goes everywhere, right? And I'm not saying that's video games are desensitizing you to that. I'm just saying it's to this particular generation, and I'm laying this squarely at the feet of Generation Z right now. This generation, it is not real. And so when you see these videos and you see these reactions of these, and mostly female women who are, on college campuses, and you go, hey, what do you think of the Charlie Kirk thing? Oh, finally, somebody had to do it. It's nothing but mockery. It's nothing but laughter. It's nothing but he deserved it. It's nothing but, yeah, finally, I can't wait for the next one kind of thing. Or it's like Destiny, basically saying, well, he got what was coming to him. It's the same thing as like, well, what did the white guy say before all those black people beat the fuck out of him? Does it matter? He's fucking dead. No, apparently it does. So if something happened prior to the video, like being recorded, and then the other thing is like the girl I don't even know the chick's name, the Ukrainian girl that was on the subway, right? Well, we don't know what happened before. Yeah, we do. We saw her come in and she sat down. It was just random act of violence. Well, what, then you got Van Jones talking about like, oh, well, this is just, a reaction to the patriarchal political situation, and the guy was insane, and let's talk about mental health, and let's talk about anything about other than the fact that this guy just randomly pulls out a knife and kills this young pretty white girl. Let's talk about anything that has nothing to do with anything but that one fact. Let's laugh it up. Let's say Charlie deserved it. Let's do all this other stuff, but let's not consider the fact that the guy was fountaining blood out of his neck. Faces of fucking death. And no one cares. That video doesn't have to be behind the curtain anymore, because it's right there in your face 24/7. Car wrecks. What is God? There's a great, I don't care what you think of them, but Jane's Addiction song called Nothing's Shocking, right? It's exactly that song. Nothing is shocking anymore, to the point where Charlie Kirk essentially is murdered in front of the eyes of his wife, his kids, all of the people who were like 3,000 people who were there. And this one dude's like, yeah. Okay. And what happens? Nothing. Oh, well, he's going to get fired from his job. What? At Starbucks? Okay. Once this is all over, these guys are going to get rehired somewhere else. And I love how people are crying about the fact, oh, they're using the cancel culture against these people. The tool is there, and people are going to use it. Trust me, I have been doxxed more times by conservatives than I've ever been doxxed by feminists or liberals. I have been doxxed so many times by right-leaning, rightist people, right, who probably would align with a lot of the same kind of stuff, the same kind of rhetoric that Matt Walsh or the rest of these guys would. Trust me, I've been doxxed more times than I care to recount. But what happens is we become so desensitized to faces of death that we don't get that heebie-jeebie feeling in us anymore. We don't, it's gone. We've moved past that point of revulsion, and anything can become normal. Once you get past the innate, evolved revulsion response that is inherent to all human beings, then that's when the real atrocities start. And that's the Rubicon that I'm afraid that we've just passed right now. I'm going to talk about empiricism versus emotionalism here in the next hour, but I wanted to pre-establish this because I keep seeing all of the, and I was thinking about putting like these videos as part of like the intro videos of what was going on and all this other stuff, and I was like, why am I going to go do that? Why do I want that? Why do I care about that? I got Joe Marin is coming up here today too. Why do I want to do that? I don't. My goal in this show is not to sort of keep harping on the same thing. My goal is not to apologize. My goal is not to like point fingers or anything like that. I just, like I said, I think that what Charlie Kirk had going on could have been something greater. And I think if there's any reason that he's gone, that was the potential that he had to be something more than he was really what they wanted to stop in its tracks. When all of this first came down, everybody was making their speculations, right? It's Mossad. It wasn't Mossad, okay? It was, well, he spoke out against Israel on PBD's podcast or something like that, and Bibi Netanyahu came after him. It's like, no, it was a 22-year-old child with a bolt action hunting rifle and a Walmart scope. That's what it was. Who wanted to impress his transgender girlfriend, boyfriend, I don't even know what the hell the friend, whatever, guy, boyfriend. Let's just go with that. And now I'm listening to, on the drive over here, I was listening to Jeremy from The Quartering, who still owes me an apology. But he was going into one of the late, and if you haven't heard this already, maybe you should. There was much more than just those two. There was a collaborative, collective effort, and people knew about this. It was leaked either on Blue Sky or on Reddit or maybe on somebody's Discord channel or something like that. I'm not even really sure. But now the FBI is following up on the people who knew about this. So this was a coordinated collusion to do something like this. And I think a lot of people were worried about Charlie because and this was just me. I'm just spitballing. This is just Raul Tomasi saying this, not anybody else. Honestly, I think Charlie could have made a presidential run at some point. If not the next one, then certainly the one after that. I think he would have been 35 by the next presidential run. But who's drawing crowds like 3,000 people? Matt Walsh ain't drawing 3,000 people. I'll tell you that. He was very likable. He had, he was very factual. He was a consummate statistician. He knew what he was talking about, particularly when it came to his debates and stuff like that. He knew before and going in what he was gonna get into. And like I said, he was a very good at what we now call debate, because what he was doing, I wouldn't really necessarily call debate. It was just sort of like name calling, like give people, sort of an open mic kind of thing. But then you've got what's his face. Oh, and I think I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up too. The black kid with the dreadlocks at Oxford right now. I think it's George Allende, or starts with an A and a Y. I can't remember. About 3 months ago, I think I mentioned the fact that I got an invite to go debate at the Oxford Society. And as it turned out, they gave the same invite to Myron and Fresh too, I guess. And then I think they were talking about wanting to get Chris Williamson on there. Now this came like hot on the heels of the Adolescence Netflix series that was going on, and everybody wanted to talk about masculinity and where it was going and all this other stuff. And so I got this invite. I still have the PDF of the invite, all this other stuff. And I never heard back from them. They just basically ghosted both myself and Myron, and they just basically gave up on it. And then I realized the guy who I was having communications with was this guy who was celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, who, by the way, was across the table from him having that one-on-one debate with him at the Oxford Society, which is where we were supposed to go. And now I'm kind of glad that never went down and never transpired. And so when people keep talking about like, oh, it's this retaliation and people are losing their jobs and everything. Well, not that kid. And I also want to point out that like should that guy be reprimanded for something like that? What about free speech? Blah, blah, blah. I'm all for free speech, but there's also consequences that come from free speech, right? Should he be representative of the Oxford Society? I would say no, but he is, no matter what. I don't get a say in that. Only Oxford gets a say in that. And so all I can say is that if you're platforming people like this, that says a lot about your organization. I'm also going to point fingers at Piers Morgan right now, who is supposed to be having Destiny on his show. I think I've heard this. He's supposed to have Destiny on his show tomorrow. Now, Piers Morgan was just hypercritical of this kid at the Oxford Society, and was saying something about something to the effect about how his mocking Charlie Kirk's death says a lot about the Oxford Society. Well, Piers Morgan, having Destiny on your show and platforming this admitted sexual predator on your show says something about you too. He also, Destiny also mocked the death of Charlie Kirk. So you having him on your show makes you no better than the Oxford Society, keeping this kid on as the president of the Oxford Society. So don't throw rocks in your glass house, Pierce. Everyone knows you do shit just for clout. Everyone knows you do shit for clicks. Everyone knows you just do shit for publicity. That's all this is. And this is when the vultures come out. This is when the ghouls come out to eat the dead body. So keep that in mind as we go forward here. Let me get through these. I compare Charlie Kirk. Okay, I already got to you. Hey, Emperor Rolo, I love the content and have been away for a while. Just stopped by to the show to show some love and ask when is the next AMA is. In just a few moments. I have a great stream and thank you. Have a great stream and thank you. And Kyle, as always, for all the hard work. You know what? You get one of those. Good riddance, Kirk. Laughing my ass off. Get wrecked. Oh. Okay, great. Thanks. Just prove that you're an idiot. Okay. Hello, Rolo. How do I make a man that's been falsely accused understand that he's not a worthless man, that he's been falsely accused, understand that is not worthless? That's a lot of worthlesses in that sentence there. I would need more. Sally, just text me or email me, and I'll give you. I need more information to really give you an accurate assessment of that. Of course, the guy's not worthless if it's a false accusation, and the guy should know better than that. But email me. Was Erica and the kids were there when Charlie got popped? Yes, he was. Yes, they were. Unfortunately. How do I make a man understand that being falsely accused that he is not worthless? Tell him. You can start with that. Why would he think that he's worthless, especially if it's a false accusation? Yeah. All right. Tomasi, your critique on Musk is just a superficial gotcha. Is it? Am I wrong? He still has those programs in effect. Abortion passes as a standard at big firms, and it doesn't promote abortion, only access. Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing is, those people are not Elon Musk, and the people at those other corporations aren't out there tweeting about the fertility crisis. That's the problem. Not the fact that I'm sure there's plenty of other corporations that do exactly the same thing, because it was a big hot button issue in 2022 during the midterms when everybody wanted to say, oh, the Supreme Court of the United States is leaking these memos about how they're going to kick Roe v. Wade back to the states, right? And everybody flew off the handle and oh my gosh, we're losing our rights to abortion. And all they did was nobody lost any rights, did nothing. It was a big fucking nothing burger. And all they did was kick the rule and the law back to the states. The states get to decide what it is. Has any one of those states done anything about that besides maybe Utah and Texas? No, they haven't. But you know who was quick to jump on it to promote their business before Elon Musk bought Twitter, before Elon Musk became conservative Elon Musk? Elon Musk decided that he wanted to have SpaceX and Tesla have as part of only female only, by the way, female only benefit package was to give them stipends to go over into other states to have an abortion and come back. Okay. You don't get to do that and then complain about the fertility crisis. That's all it was about. And it was a midterm election. Political maneuvering is all it was. So don't give me this bullshit about it being a superficial gotcha. I don't give two flying like, I don't care about Elon Musk, right? I mean, I'm thank you for your Elon bucks. I think I got $70 for my tweets this last month. But okay, you think it's a gotcha moment? Well, then explain to me why the guy is constantly harping on the fertility crisis and still has these programs in effect. It seems to me very hypocritical. There you go. I have Joe Marin. Come on in here, Joe. Joe is my partner in Reignite, and it is that time of the show to talk about. Are we in? Oh, I don't think that one's plugged in. Does he need one? Yeah, he does. Yeah. Dunking. Does that count? That doesn't count as dunking on Musk. I'm presenting. I just work here. That's all I do. I just work here.
I just sweep the floors.
I just sweep the floors, man. I just tell you what's going on. You guys, oh God. It's electioneering. Yeah, well, I mean, you don't get to scold me about the fertility crisis and ring the bell and everything. Oh my gosh, we're below replacement level. Yeah, well, we're going to stay that way because of your policies. You know, if that's what you really think. Right? So let's see. We can complain about the fertility crisis, but we don't want to abridge a woman's right to choose. Okay. Anyways, why are you here?
What's up, bro? We're here to talk about Reignite.
The Reignite, of course.
It's our Reignite plug time.
Yeah, I wanted to throw this out there because we are doing something special for October. What are we doing? What's the plan for October?
We're doing a mastermind over the Halloween weekend.
Ooh, that'll be fun. Yeah. What are the dates? The dates are
the official date. So it's the official dates are the 30th, October 30th through November 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And the unofficial date is October 29th. I'm going to put a photo shoot together and an ATV ride together.
Okay, so we're going to finally do the ATV.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
that it's cooled down.
That it's not 110 degrees, right?
Jesus, yeah. No,
so that's the plan. It's
we didn't want to kill anybody in the desert.
Yes.
We care about you.
Mm-hmm.
We care a lot. And so the 31st, we're going to be at Tao Nightclub for the infamous costume contest.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
So go ahead and give us shit right now for saying that we're promoting all of these whores that are going to be out there dressed like the way they are. Anyways, it's Las Vegas. It doesn't have to be Halloween. But anyways, so we're going to be doing that. I was a judge when I wasn't a judge. I was actually helping out with the costume contest last year with Mike, and I dressed up as Ken from the Ken and Barbie movie, which was a mistake because Ken and Barbie was the year before that, but I couldn't go last year for some screwy reason. I think I might have had COVID. I think I was sick last time. And so I had this whole Ken outfit with the wig and everything else. And I went shirtless. I had the fuzzy jacket and everything. And I thought I looked pretty damn close to Ken, but nobody remembered the Barbie movie. So who do you think they said I was? Ric Flair. And they were right. I did look like Ric Flair. So I'm like, okay, I'm Ric Flair. I'm going with the Ric Flair look this time. So anyways, I want to also point out, since this is the Reignite section of the show, I want to point out as well, kind of like what our charter is and why we do what we do. We do what we do in Reignite because we want to help guys out. And we want to do something more than just do a podcast or or raise awareness. We actually work with the guys one-on-one, whether that's sort of remote or we stage events. Like I said, the one that's coming up at Tao Nightclub. We just finished one up in August. That was a great one. The one in for Babes in Toyland. That was during Swim Week, which I thought was probably one of our best events that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
at least as good as the white party that we did in Miami this year. And we did a fishing trip, and we went to the white party, which is another Babes in Toyland event, courtesy of Steve Fowler. Shout out to him. And these are all charity events, which have a high concentration of very gorgeous, beautiful women, right? So that's one of the things that we do in Reignite is we give guys an opportunity to put those skills to test, right? So, I just want to go over like what a typical Reignite event is. And so, and by the way, this isn't just Joe here. This is like the both of us who came up with this as well. So I want people to know that.
Well, the idea is that
I've been involved in this from the inception.
Yeah, the idea is we're taking your book and your philosophies and putting it into practical use, right? So it's just not a mental exercise anymore. It's actually we're taking it out and putting it into the world so guys can actually have examples and know what to do when they're actually in situations, social situations or situations with women that they need some guidance with.
Right. So my sort of mission statement. Am I buzzing here? Did I lose it? Because maybe it's sorry, it's probably my. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There we go. I lost my headphones for a second. So I wanted to do something different with Reignite because I didn't want it to be like the typical funnel marketing mastermind, this kind of stuff. I wanted to go and do stuff, and I wanted to make sure that like not only we have a classroom setting, yes, we do, but we also go out and do stuff like we went to the gun range on the last one, and we spent like 3 hours at the gun range. We were taught by. Remind me of the guy. Ty. Yeah, Ty came out. He's actually an instructor. And so we did that. We were going to do the ATV ride, but it was just so bloody hot. So, but we'll do that.
Well, we got a cabana at Bel Air.
Got a cabana at Bel Air.
Everybody came over there. It was fun.
That was fun. Yeah. And so the way we run these is we have sort of a buildup. We usually run them 1 day out, sometimes 2 days out, depending on like how involved the whole thing is. And so you've got Q&A with me. We have a school group. We have an online thing as well, like everybody else does. I do we both do a once a week call with guys. So if they have questions or if they have, we just sort of do catch up and just say, hey, what's going on with you? How's your life? How's your game? How are you going out there and doing stuff? And it's not necessarily, I think people will probably think of it as sort of like a accountability group. It's not accountability. It's just a tribe of guys. And it's not just us. It's the other guys in the group that are like interested in the other guys, right? We're all friends. We have a good time together, and we pretty much know each other, certainly on a first name basis. And we do our best to sort of help each other out. And so it's not just me, although I do yammer on quite. Okay, let me stop bullshitting you. But it's not just me yammering on all the time. So when we go and we do an event, we will have speakers, or like if we've had Jim Kilgore with doing style, and then sometimes we will go to someplace like Jackson Maximus, which is a haberdashery. Yeah. For lack of a better term, in Miami. A good friend of mine, Christian, is the owner of Jackson Maximus, which is right at the base of the Hyatt Centric, which used to be over by Fresh and Fit Studios, the old studios, but now they're at a new one. But I really I sort of developed this sort of business, friendship with Christian, and I wanted to get the guys there for style, and they got fitted for suits, and they got they learned about color theory and sort of like their presence and their style. Which a lot of these guys don't know anything about, right? So we give them the opportunity to do something like that. Then we go do something fun. Then we go for a deep sea fishing trip, and we just hang out for from 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. right? And we're just there, and we're fishing, we're catching, we're just shooting the shit and having a good time. And when guys get together, that's when they have the best communication, I think. Anyways, it's not sitting in a classroom taking notes all the time for 6 hours straight. It's like, it's better if you're out there doing something and enjoying each other's company, and then you're having those conversations. And that's when conversations tend to flow, I think, a little bit better. Now, it's not to say that we don't have those classroom settings. We do. And do we do like sort of intensives and masterminds and stuff like that? Absolutely, we do. But we also mix it up with a lot of more kind of fun shit, right? And so the last time we went shooting, we went to Top Golf.
Yes.
And we did Bel Air, and we did Babes in Toyland, and we were going to do the ATV, but we mix it up a little bit, so it's not just a one-sided thing, right? We'll teach you how to, optimize your Instagram. Well, if whatever your particular needs are, we individualize each sort of cater to each sort of guy, so that when we're talking to these guys and we know what your problems are, we know what your issues are, we know what your deficits are, and we know what your strengths are. And so if you have trouble with your style, if you have trouble with your body language, if you have trouble with talking to girls, that's one of the things we do as well, is we do exercises with actual live real chicks, live real girls. And you have conversations with these chicks, and they all understand where they're at. They're not there to mock you, they're not there to give you shit, they're to give you constructive feedback on your conversation with them. And we'll mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll say, okay,
we run scenarios.
Yeah, we run scenarios.
Yeah.
So it's like if the chick wants to stonewall you, or if she's going to give you shit tests, we'll say, okay, now on this exercise, you're going to get a shit test, right? Or on this exercise, she's not going to be as receptive. On the other one, she'll be very receptive. And what are you going to do about that? So we'll mix things up even in those exercises. We've had Jason Hartman come on to talk about finances and entrepreneurship and real estate.
Yeah, that was a good talk.
We'll have we've got fitness guys, we've got style guys like Jim Kilgore. So whatever your particular needs are, we're there to sort of if we don't, tell us, and we'll be happy to. I'm sure we know somebody within our network to bring on to the next event. So do I skydive? No, but I will if that's what you all really want to do.
No, we're going to do the air combat thing.
Air combat, yeah. Yes. What is that?
That's here in Vegas. They have an air combat thing, and they fly fully aerobatic planes, -3 Gs to +9 Gs, and we'd go out and dogfight each other. So,
yeah, and then the shooting range we went to, they let you shoot automatic weapons there too. Not that we did, but we did. We heard some. And then I still want to go do the tank. I want to go drive the tank at some point. Either that, or I want to take the Camaro down to the Speedway and just go nuts. So anyways, if you guys have questions about Reignite, don't forget Joe is my partner. And I have to say that because if he answers a phone, I want you to know that's the voice on the other end of the phone. If it's not me, it's Joe. Okay. And so I wanted to sort of clarify here too. It's this is not like Joe's thing that I just sort of tag myself onto. We actually both together created this whole thing ourselves. So it's not just Rollo's got a funnel marketing team now. No, we've been doing this for a year now, a little over a year. And so we got a really good tight knit group of guys, but we'd like to get some more people in because it's, the more the merrier. A lot of people also think that we only cater to guys that are between the ages 45 and 65 or 75 or something like that. It's the old guys group. And while we do have a lot of guys that are in that demographic, it's not just limited to those dudes. So we discovered early on that a lot of guys who are in that demographic are sort of rebuilding themselves after becoming zeroed out by a bad divorce, or maybe they lost their jobs, or maybe their business failed, or zeroing out can happen in any way, right? It could be a death in the family. There's a lot of different ways, but we were sort of seeing this happen, and we wanted to be there to sort of help these guys and give them a real alternative other than putting a noose around their necks or putting a gun in their mouths, right? Now, a lot of people kept saying, well, Rollo, can I get involved in the group? I'm 35 and I did get divorced at 35. I mean, you don't have to be divorced. That's not a prerequisite. You could you can be 100% single and be in the group.
Well, you could actually be trying to save your marriage too.
Or you could be married too. Yeah. That's the other thing I was going to say is it's a lot of times guys will come and say, well, I'm married. I don't want to go out to Vegas and pick up random slovenly trollops. I want to save my marriage. I want my wife to have sex with me again. Well, this is the group for you then, right? We have what's the black guy's name from the UK?
I'm drawing a blank.
I'm drawing a blank right now. We have married
Manessa.
guys. Yeah, Manessa. That's right. Yeah. We have Manessa. We have guys that are in the group that are married. So, and then we have guys that have steady girl. We have guys that were single and now have steady girlfriends. And we have guys that like, I think the great thing, and one of the misnomers, I think, when it comes to stuff like what we do and what Men of Action do, is we're just here to get you laid. We're just here to get your notch count up, and we're just here to like measure our dicks by, our body count.
Thanks,
or
Rob.
something. Yes, like your ego is going to be bigger because now you can go get. That's not what we're trying to do, and I don't think that's what Mike is even trying to do. Are these guys out there because they want to go out there and they want to like improve their sex life? And yeah, of course they do.
And that's what we do. We talk to guys, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, what do you want?
Yeah,
Let's figure out a plan for what you want and how to get there.
Yeah, the first thing we do is like, why are you here?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
what's the point? What's your purpose of being there? And so once we get past that point, then we can start catering something that's sort of individualized to that guy, right? And I don't see anybody other than ourselves and like maybe MOA that's doing this right now. And like people want to say, well, what's the difference between MOA and us? And I think Mike has sort of put it into a really good terms in that I'm Tom Landry and he is he's Vince Lombardi, right? Like I'm the best defensive coordinator ever and he's the best offensive coordinator ever. And I think that pretty much sums it up. Although I would say this is you got to know a lot about offense to be a good defensive coordinator and vice versa. So,
well, one of the things, and it's not woo. We go a little deeper, I think, than Men of Action does, as far as the emotional component and guys understanding how their emotionality ruins relationships,
right?
And the ability to get that under control is so powerful.
Yeah,
and so that's something we go. So we go. I think we go a little bit deeper into what's actually going on in a man's life and help him solve those problems than maybe MOA does.
Yeah, I like if you know anything about my work in the past. Like it pretty much in damn near every book I've ever said is like, I'm not in the business of helping men become or making men better men. I'm in the business of giving men the equipment, the education and the knowledge and the facts and everything so that they can make themselves better men. I'm not starting a cult. That's not what this group is about. I don't want Tomasi guys, right? Oh, I'm a Tomasi man. Like, no, I'm not Andrew Tate. But I do want to give you guys the tools that you maybe didn't have before so that you can maintain your marriage, get back into a sex-filled marriage instead of a sexless marriage, right? So that maybe you never got married in the first place and you just sort of never really launched yourself. You never really got into the relationships that you wanted to have. Maybe it's just simply because you just lack the tools and the education to understand how to go about doing that. Maybe you didn't have the social skills. We help you with the social skills. Maybe you need to get into the gym and you need fitness people. You need somebody to help you motivate in that way. We have those people as well. So whatever it is that happens to be your, whatever your deficit happens to be, we have, if I can't do it and he can't do it, there's people in our network that can help you out no matter what. And all you got to do is say, hey, I really need to talk to a fitness guy. Great. I'm going to go get Todd Lee, MD, and get him into and have him come and do a talk at the next one, right? If I can do that, if that's what people want. So we have a vast network of people to refer you guys to and to actually have come in. So, but yeah, I was going to say we kind of go a little bit deeper. We're, like I said, if we're the defense part, I don't really like. I don't know. Maybe defense isn't the word we need to do. I'm the theory. We're the theory, and maybe MOA is more like the practice. But
that's what we're doing. We're taking your theory and putting it into practice. Exactly. That's exactly what Reignite is.
Right. So like for I think Mike tends to be more oriented on the action side of things. We're going to go out into the clubs. We're going to go do these things. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. We're going to report and then we're going to go back out again. So it's go out, come back, go out, come back and talk about the things that you're going to do. And
part of this was like older guys, even 35-year-olds don't want to go to the club. Right. And where are we going to go meet our women? How are we going to interact with people when we're not at the club?
Right.
And so
how are you going to take that? How are you going to take those skills back to your own home environment? Like not everybody lives in Las Vegas. I know you should actually live here.
Well, one of the things that we offer too is I do a social breakdown of your hometown and I'll fly out and come hang out with you for a weekend.
And calibrate to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually thinking about going, God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. I was thinking about going to Minnesota to see my friend. He's the guy in my Patreon group.
On the branch?
Yeah, that's on the the guy that breeds the cattle.
Right.
His name is Justice.
We need to make a flyer and brochure for him.
Yeah.
And then like put it out and see what girls want to go with us.
Yeah. See how many girls they can drag to Minnesota. All you bitches that say, I would love to live on a farm if I could just find a guy to just wife me up. And like you would last half an hour on that farm. You would not, you'd have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to go pull a baby calf out of the uterus of some full grown calf. I want to go home. It takes a special woman to actually want to go up to Minnesota and hang out on a very high end cattle ranch. They make money hand over fist at these places, but it's a lot of work. So much that Justice can't get away from it. And I've been wanting to get him to come to Vegas for a very long time. So
see if he can come to the mastermind at the end
Muhammad
of October.
cannot, or the mountain will not come to Muhammad. Muhammad must go to the mountain, right? So yeah, so I'll see if I can get him to come to the mountain. I've said, dude, I'll cover your costs. Come out, let's just do it. But he just can't get away from the place. But that's the kind of thing that we do. It's like we'll come out there. Like if you want to, I'm in Nashville. What can I do? I'll be happy to go to Nashville. I'm in Pigeon Forge. Okay, Paducah, Kentucky. Oh, all right. But I'm sure there's places that you can go. I'm sure there's. But again, the skills, social skills, the things that you'll learn are applicable no matter where you're at. You might not like from a practical sense. You might need somebody to sort of point you in the right direction. But from just from a skills sense, the stuff is relatable and it transfers. So, but that said, if you want to join the group, the link is in the second link down. It always is. Again, and thank you for that, Sam, for putting that up there. It's reignitealpha.com. Why did you put alpha? I was like, because Reignite was taken.
Right.
And probably by Dan Bilzerian. Let me see. I got a couple of super chats here. Siege D asked me this. He says, "Hey Rolo, when can Steve Fowler come on Access Vegas? I know we have Titan Energy cookies as a paid promotion. I wish we get free cookies. We don't get money from them. He just amps us up. But you and Sartain, Babes in Toyland on Access Vegas constantly. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to have Steve on. I don't know. He'd probably come on.
Yeah,
he probably would.
Come on.
He'd be game for something like that. Anyways, I'll get back to the rest of these. Is there anything else you wanted to deliver here?
To plug? No.
I wanted to make sure that you guys know that this guy is my partner. Okay, so if he answers, his voice is on the other end. This is Joe Marron. If you hear his voice on the other end, that is who you're talking to. Because a lot of people go, "I don't believe you. Do you? This isn't.
That was Albert.
Hey,
that was
this
Albert
isn't
the
Rolo.
First time.
Albert, yeah. Hey, is this really Rolo?"
No, Albert had me. Albert was like, "Okay, I don't really believe you. I want to talk to Rolo." And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
hold on.
And he texts me. He goes, "Can I give this guy your number?" He doesn't believe me. I'm like, yeah, I guess. So I actually called him. He goes, "Is this the real Rolo?" I'm like, "Yes, it is." Yes. Okay, that's all I need to know.
And he went to the Babes in Toyland
in Miami.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, he was down. Oh, and then also one last thing is, we want you to join the group. Please do. Get a membership, become a member of Reignite. I think it'll be well worth your while. I don't think we charge all that much more than the average rate of what's going on right now. But I will tell you this, we are far cheaper than Sadia Khan's $8,000 for 1 hour. much cheaper than that.
For sure.
So if you want to get more information on what our pricing structure is, what the program entails, how we go about it, what our approach is, Joe's the one to talk to.
Yeah, and then you can DM me on Instagram at Reignite Alpha.
Yeah, and I should also point that out, is that we have our own established. We need to get on Twitter too.
Okay,
I'll set up. I'll set up Twitter.
I'll let you handle Twitter.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'll set up the Twitter account. But we are it's Reignite Alpha on Instagram.
Yeah,
okay,
that's correct.
So you can find that there. And then so if you're interested in that, you can actually get in touch with me, or you can get in touch with Joe. And then we'll get you started. We'll get you set up. And again, it's not hard sale. Anybody knows me. My marketing is anti-marketing. So like, I want you guys to come in and learn something and actually do. I'm not like trying to, make it rain or anything like that.
Now I might make a stand for you.
Yeah.
If I feel like you need to make a stand for.
Yes.
So
exactly. Anyways, so that's that. And what was the other thing I was going to say? So as far as like Reignite Alpha is concerned, it's the two of us. And so if you're interested, please, again, hit the link. And if you hit me up, like you can hit me up too, and I'll probably just push you off to Joe to get you signed up. But I think that if it's something that is that pressing to you, that it's well worth your investment. And again, it's not this lifetime investment, right? You just said, I'm going to be a part of it. I will figure out what I need to have done. And a lot of these guys stick around. We have a lot of crossover too. We've got at least one or two members that are both in MOA and in Reignite as well. So,
right. Well, the big thing about joining is you have to be ready to push yourself and stretch yourself and stand in tension for because it's going to take work, especially around meeting and talking to women. I mean, that brings out so much in people. And that's why we have like the emotional component too, because when you start talking to women, you start having a relationship or going out with women, it's going to bring up so much stuff inside of you that you haven't been really paying attention to necessarily. And so the idea is to work through that and then keep going out and practicing and working on yourself and practicing and working on yourself. And so it's just like when you're playing a sport, like if you're playing basketball, you go to practice and then you actually go in the game and then you come back to practice and figure out what you did right and what you did wrong, readjust and get back into the game. So it's the same thing here. So you have to be prepared to take action and to stretch yourself to really be successful in this program.
Yeah. I was also going to say, and thanks for that, Greg Hughes. The guy was saying that Reignite events are very reasonable price. You don't have to be a member to come to some of the events. Like you can actually just pay for if you want to just come to the mastermind, if you want to, hey, I really want to I'm going to be in Vegas on that weekend. How do I get in? You don't have to be a member of Reignite to go to the events. We want you to, obviously, and we'll probably convince you to while you're here. But the thing is that you don't have to necessarily do those things. So we had people I had at least one guy, maybe two guys that were on the fishing trip that weren't actually part of they are now, but they weren't actually part of the group. And they say, hey, I want to be on the fishing trip. Well, then the fishing trip's this cost. And then the weekend is this cost. And that's it. Right? It's just it's a one-shot thing. So we work it both ways. So you don't have to, you don't necessarily have to like have a long-term commitment if you just want to come to one event and just check it out. So, and so when we do, what's the base price for the towel for
the
Halloween
event? It's $14.97.
Okay. So that's for this event. Right? Okay. And then, then if you want to become a member, then we have it in a tiered thing. And that's something I'll just pass off to Joe. So if you want to find out what the actual membership is now, if they're already a member, they get to go to the events, or
they get a discounted price.
On those, depending on the tier. Yeah. So there you go. If you guys have any questions, again, hit up Joe, hit up myself. And then Wisconsin ways. There you go. So anyways, thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, man.
Much
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Yep. I'll see you again. All right, guys.
And back to Rolo.
Back to me. Thanks. So anyways, getting back to, let's see, I've got, where did I go with this? Oh, this was pretty good. So I had a lot of people were asking me about, where did it go? So who's hitting me up right now? Oh, Justice. Justice just texted me. He says, did you just drop my name on the show? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. See? I care. And Justice is just part of my Patreon group. He's not necessarily even part of Reignite now. But anyways, what I was going to say is that I've got this one video from Scott Adams, and Scott, I believe, has cancer right now and is probably not going to be around much longer. But I thought one of the things he said was pretty poignant here. I think I'll get to that here in just a second. But before I'll give you the prefacing here with Scott is I think he's also sort of seeing that we've sort of rounded a corner here with the dialogue or the discourse between sort of like the right and the left. And I wanted to point out, before I get to his video, I wanted to point out a couple of things here. The first one is you guys have probably heard me say this before, is that when it comes to organizing societies, men tend to organize societies based on hierarchies. So there's like the chain of command, let's just say. So you got the admiral and you got the captains and the lieutenants and all the way down until you get to the private, right? Or you got the CEO, CFO, the COO, all the way down into the janitor, right? So there's always this sort of hierarchy of jobs, or hierarchy. The chain of command is basically what it ends up being. And that's more or less how men organize society. When women organize society, it's usually in the round. It's usually egalitarianism seems like a good idea to women, because women tend to organize societies based on communitarianism. So it seems better when, like, women are the vulnerable sex. And so when we're looking at hunter-gatherer societies, the hunters have to have sort of this pecking order. They have to have this hierarchy of who's going to coordinate the action, who's going to, like, Joe's a better hunter than Dave is. And, Dave's he's better at carrying the meat, or he can, dress the animal better and we can get it all back to thing. But, Mike over here is good at this kind of thing. So there's like sort of like pecking order of like a hierarchy of whose job is more respectable and is more important, whatever, who gets more pussy, basically, who gets more meat and brings it back to the tribe. That's men in hierarchies. For women, they're the gatherers, they're the berry pickers, they're the ones they're the vulnerable sex. I didn't say the weaker sex, I said the vulnerable sex. And the reason why is because they have to go through pregnancy and they have to go through nurturing, and they're the nurturing sex, right? They're the ones that have to take care of the young, because we have very fragile children. A baby is, we have big head babies, right? We are a species that is important, and a species that is the dominant apex species on planet Earth, because I know this sounds counterintuitive, but we actually use our intelligence to kick ass, right? And the only way we can do that is if we invest in our young and we protect and we put, it's what selecting reproductive strategy, right? We put all of our eggs into one basket. We put all of our efforts into into a one specific child, or two specific child, or in some cases maybe up to 8 specific children, who knows, right? But the thing is we are very focused on one child at a time, whereas we're not like breeding like rabbits, right? We don't just like try to spread the seed and just say, okay, you're good to go, right? Or like, for instance, like a horse. When a horse gives birth to a pony or foal, right? That foal can run in 30 minutes. It can get away from danger, follow its mom, and get away from danger in about 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And but human beings are not like that. We need to be able to focus on our young and to raise our young and everything. And it's so, as a result, women are the vulnerable sex. They need, in our evolutionary past, women they still do today, need men for protection, provisioning, and parental investment. Those are the 3 beta traits. Okay. And say, there's lots of other alpha fucks traits, we know, but the reason why women tend to be more communitarian, or have developed a communitarian sort of psyche, is because there's strength in numbers, there's security in numbers. So the group of women stay together. They circle the wagons, right? It seems a better way to organize society in the round, where everybody gets one. Okay, you get one, and you get one, and you get one, and oh, Becky, you are pregnant, so you get 2, and here you get one, and you get one, and so on and so forth. That's when women run societies, as they have become more influential and political, and have more social power, political power, since the sexual revolution, since the advent of hormonal birth control. We put more women in college. We put more women into positions of power. We put more women in the American workforce. We put more women into positions of power in politics. We have put more women into positions of power in religion. Over every aspect of the social fabric right now, we have put women into positions that they have never been in, or have been in a lesser capacity, right up until the last 60 years. So this is still a fucking experiment right now. But when we look at the social, what we think of as sort of egalitarianism, it's better if everybody's equal. It's better if everybody's 50-50. That's why we get into marriage, and we say, oh, marriage is an equal partnership. I'm going to pay for the date. I'm going to pay for the date too. We're going to split the date. We're going to go Dutch. That was never even a conversation prior to the sexual revolution. Now it's 50-50. When I say women have become the men that they wanted to marry, that wasn't a discussion. That wasn't even a conversation prior to 1965. That's not a Rollo Tomassi quote. That's a Gloria Steinem quote. So a woman needs a fish like a fish needs a bicycle. We don't need men, which you do need men, but we've gotten to the point where we become so comfortable and we become so, as I was saying, we prior to Joe coming on, what I'm saying, when we become accustomed and acclimated to certain things, and that becomes normal, we're now thinking that the normal way of doing something is to do society in the round. That's why you get things like the participation trophy society. I love it when I listen to somebody say, well, these kids today, they're not competitive and we have the participation trophies and everybody's a winner and stuff. That is straight out of the egalitarian playbook. That is straight out of the way that women organize society in the round. So when you look at socialism, when you look at communism, for whatever passes for it these days, when you look at collectivity, when you look at egalitarianism, when you look at how women organize society, the reason why we even tolerate something called the Democratic Socialist Party in the United States right now is because we have allowed women into political power right now. And their first reflexive way of organizing society and maintaining political power is in the round, is in saying that this is an egalitarian collective. We have a union. We have a whatever it is, anything that is a societal collective. There is no more feminine a way of organizing society than socialism, than communism, than collectivism, than egalitarianism, all of that great stuff. Okay. That's why this seems logical. And nothing backs that up better than Enlightenment era thinking when it comes to the blank slate. If everybody is equal, if everybody has equal worth, if all men are born equal, if genetics don't make any, that's why you want to know why women, especially women and feminists and liberal thinking men as well, with cuttlefish, like male feminists, one of the reasons why they think that this is a logical way of doing things is because of Enlightenment era thinking, because of the blank slate. The blank slate is a dead meme. It has been nature versus nurture was answered a long time ago, and it is nature all the fucking way. How do we know that? Because all you got to do is look up the 4 laws of genetic behaviorism. We have plotted the human genome. That's why I was laughing at that one guy in the video there was talking about, 80% of men are disgusting to women. No, that's actually not what it said. It just said 80% of men are deemed unattractive by women. They didn't say, oh my God, I'm going to throw up. Then there's the clip. That's not what they were saying. They're just saying that those men are unattractive. Oh, that means that 20% of men are attractive. No, it doesn't. It means they're not unattractive. It didn't say they were attractive. They might do. They're if he has value added, maybe. Remember, 4.5% of men are actually the Justin Wallers of the world. Those are the women that women will actively initiate something with. Will you please, for the love of Christ, read that that research by Steve Stewart Williams and everybody drink Dr. David Buss, right? Just read those and you will understand this, and you won't be misquoting and putting out fake news and misinformation. Bald boomer dude. I don't know who that guy was. But anyways, so doing society in the round, communism, liberalism, communitarianism, all of that is a female way of organizing society. So when you've got guys coming up to a Charlie Kirk open debate forum, what you're looking at is a clash between a hierarchical way of seeing the world versus an in the round egalitarian way of seeing the world. And the problem is that the real natural reality evolved world has a hierarchical basis to it, has a hierarchical bias to it. That's why patriarchy was not something that was invented by men to crush the souls of poor women. It's because that was the most logical way of organizing society prior to the sexual revolution, prior to the advent of an invention that would allow one sex to determine who gets born and who doesn't. If we're going to go, I was just talking about Elon Musk, if we're going to talk about the fertility crisis, I lay that at the feet of women, because women are the ones who are in control of the birth. They're the ones that have hormonal birth control. And that wasn't enough. So now we have to have on-demand, safe, legal abortion. Look at those two inventions right there. You kill the conversation. I don't care what else comes after that. If you want to know why we have a fertility crisis, not just in the United States, but all over the world, all over the industrialized first world nations and stuff like that, Japan for sure, Korea is going to disappear. Why? Because of feminism and the militant feminism that came as a result of hormonal birth control, the sexual revolution, putting women into positions of power. And am I mad about that? No, it just is what it is. And I'm going to channel my turd flinging monkey right here. If you really want a solution to this, the only solution is to take away women's rights. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm actually going to agree with turd flinging monkey. Am I going to try to set anything in motion? Do I think that that's going to happen? No, I don't. And neither does he, for that matter either. But the thing is that's really the only solution at this stage. Or the meteor strikes, or there's warfare, which looks highly likely now. Right? But the reason why you see women celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, or the reason why you see that guy who was like in the front row going, yeah, when Charlie got gunned down, the reason why you see that is because that egalitarian, liberal female mindset, it's not real to them yet. It's a video game right now. That's why they feel comfortable popping off about like, yeah, he got what's coming to him. He got what he deserved, all this other stuff. And then they're crying in the next video about, I lost my job. Where? At Barney's Coffee. And they're surprised and shocked. And of course, it's very satisfying for traditional tradcons, conservatives, whatever, to see like, oh, they're happy and they're, popping off. And then suddenly, no, they're crying because, what is it? Fucked around and found out, right? or what is it? Instantly regretted it. If you want, if you want your YouTube short or your video, whatever, to instantly go viral, all you have to do is so-and-so did this. Instantly regrets it. That's all that instantly regrets. That's all this is, right? If I went and I said, Rollo Tomasi talks about this, instantly regrets it, or rage quit, put rage quit in the title, instant virality. I'm sorry. That's just how it goes, right? Here you go. Give Kyle a Don DeMarco. That was for you, Kyle. Instantly regrets it. But and people love that. They're eating that up. And Ryan Stone is like Voltaire right now. Ryan's just like, he just makes fun of everybody on both sides because he sees the grift from both sides. And I vaya con Dios, man. But the reason why women are the ones that are overwhelmingly the ones, like, yeah, I see these guys and I figured this was going to happen. You see these guys on the streets, these on the street videos with their, man on the street with a microphone. Like, what did you think of the Charlie Kirk assassination? Well, I think he deserved it. And it's not guys, it's always women. And they pop off and they're like laughing and dancing and then they instantly regret it, right? But the reason why they're doing that is because they're comfortable, because they don't see a human. They see a video game. The blood coming out, that's not real. That's just pixels, right? That's not a real human being who was just cut down in front of his wife and his kids. Yeah, that guy thinks it's a video game, and he feels comfortable doing that because he thinks everyone agrees with him. Same thing with the women. They feel comfortable in popping off about like, he got what he had coming to him. Oh, he was a racist, a bigot, a misogynist, a this, a that. He Trantifa. He hated Trantifa and all this stuff. And he's not a human being. You want to talk about dehumanizing? This is the dehumanizing side. And it all comes from one mindset. Egalitarianism comes from that communitarian, like we're all in the round. We all agree with each. Hey, am I right? Am I right? Am I right? You know who first came up with that? Some chick. Am I right? You know somebody that it was a woman that came up with that, right? And so when you're looking for that consensus, the idea that everybody agrees with you, the funny thing is then you see like these teachers who are getting like losing their tenure, or these people who are losing their positions and as you're losing their jobs. You're not losing your job because of you're exercising your freedom of speech. Your employer doesn't want to be associated. He doesn't want his company, his hierarchical company, to be associated with someone of your opinion. Because what happens is now he loses money. Now he loses sales because, oh, your company is about this? Well, then I don't want to buy your product anymore. Oh, well, what if I fire this bitch? Okay, then I'll buy your product. That's all it boils down to. It's just numbers on a ledger at that point. Same thing with Oxford Society and the black dude with the dreadlocks making fun of Charlie Kirk, who he actually met and sat across from, right? He's not even seeing him eye to eye. Charlie's not a human being. He's a video game character. It's not real blood. It's just pixels, right? It's just Unreal Engine. That's all it is. It's Halo. it's Call of Duty, Space Marine 2. But the reason why is because they don't see you as that side doesn't see you as human. The egalitarianism doesn't see you as human. It only sees themselves, their own tribe. And that's really what this kind of boils down to, is tribalism. And I want to point this out is I don't see tribalism as a bad thing. I think tribalism is a feature of human nature, and it's not a bug. It's just, can it be used? It's like fire, right? It can be used for good or for evil. It's like tribalism has been a strength of human existence for a very long time. It's when you use it in ways that are detrimental to human life, then obviously. But tribalism has always been a thing, and it always will be a thing, right? And you're right. It is. It's all over the world. It's Poland. I got you. Thank you. I've written essays about this before. It's like the way that women organize society is different than the way that men organize society. And the longer we have women in positions of power, the more this is it's gonna come due. And when Charlie Kirk was killed, this is when this is gonna come due. I see what's going on in the UK right now. And it's not 100,000 protesters. It's millions of protesters out in the streets in London and everything else. And so who's trying to downplay this? A journalistic society that has been raised on communitarianism and egalitarianism and a female way of organizing society. They can't repress it anymore. And so what's going to happen is this. We're running into a position where we are having a conflict, not just between hierarchies and egalitarian ways of establishing society. We're looking at a difference between empiricism and emotionalism. So when Charlie Kirk goes to, or Myron Gaines or me or anybody else goes to a debate, or they go to a school and they go like Steven Crowder, like, it's like, women are this, change my mind, right? Steven Crowder was the one who like really kind of pioneered going to, setting up a card table and just putting some controversial thing in the front and then having these conversations back and forth. And it made for great content until somebody gets killed, and then it doesn't make content. It's not great content after that. But like when Myron would go to, I think he was just at the University of North Carolina or South Carolina, something like that.
I think so.
Yeah. And he's there and he's answering. People hate Myron. Like they hate Charlie Kirk, but they really hate Myron because Myron has been doing Fresh and Fit and doing the after hours show with the girls for a long time. And even when we have Myron on this show, the women that will actually still come on this show, they're only doing it because they want a piece of Myron. I remember when we had Toy Hardy on for the first time. She was this chick who's this model girl. She was actually, and I didn't know this at the time, she was Mike Rashid's ex-fiance. And she blamed Myron and Fresh for, I guess, red pilling Rashid. And Mike Rashid, like, I think he got rid of her because she's kind of crazy anyways. And so I don't think it was because I don't think Mike Rashid's red pill at all. But she blamed Myron and Fresh for her not being able, for her, the wedding being canceled by Mike Rashid. And I didn't know this, but like I'd gone to a Babes in Toyland and she goes, she knew who I was. And then I had mentioned something about like Myron and Fresh were coming and said, oh, I want to be on that show. And I'm like, oh, sure, we'd love to have you on the show. I didn't know. She comes in and she's on there, and the first thing out of her mouth is she just like starts laying into Myron and Fresh. And she was the first one that got kicked off. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? It turns out that she hated Myron so much, she was willing to fly from Los Angeles to Las Vegas just so she could be on the show for the 5 minutes before she got kicked off so she could give Myron a piece of her mind. That's how hated he is. So when you take Myron and you got an opportunity to see him at a college or something like that, I would be, and I know Myron's probably going to disagree with me on this, because I would tell Myron, like, wait till things cool down. Ben Shapiro he canceled his appearances and then he re-upped his appearances. Like, he's like, I'm not going to let these guys, strong arm me into not going to these, to do these debates and stuff. Cause he wanted to do the same thing Charlie Kirk was. If you're a TradCon, like, this is your bread and butter. Like Steve Crowder did the same thing. Ben Shapiro does it. I guess maybe Matt Walsh is doing it too. Maybe.
I think so.
Anyways, but like, I mean, more power to you. Go ahead and do those things. But the problem that you're going to run into at each and every one of these things, and the reason why people get so worked up, who are the opposition, people who hate these guys, the reason why they get so worked up is because they run out of gas, as I was saying before. What happens is when you run out of sort of empirical gas, like a lot of these guys, and I've seen this happen on whatever podcast. It's been on our podcast. It's been on Myron and Fresh, pretty much anywhere. Certainly Charlie Kirk. Certainly any debate where there's like ideology versus ideology. There's the people like Charlie Kirk who will say, okay, I'm going to rationally just dismantle your argument right now. If you saw Charlie Kirk on Jubilee, when he gets like everybody, it's like the ambush show, right? Like, why you would sign up for that, I don't know. But like when Jordan Peterson goes on there, completely caught him on the back foot, like completely unprepared, and they just piled on him. It was like one brontosaurus and like 100 fucking raptors just like ripped him to shreds, right? Not so with Patrick Bet David knew what he was getting into. Like, he went in there and like he knew what he was going to say, and he has Patrick Bet David too. I don't have a lot of good things to say about Pat, but he does have command presence. And when he was on Jubilee, he was there and he was prepared and he knew what he was in for. Same thing with Charlie Kirk. When he went on Jubilee and he was in the round and he had 20 liberals versus a Christian guy, right? Instantly regrets. When he was on there, Charlie Kirk was prepared. He's always prepared. He knows what he's going to say. He doesn't need a fucking cell phone or a tablet or a laptop to do anything like Destiny does. I mean, he's a great debater, not without his cell phone and not without the people who are backing him up and feeding him information the whole time he's there. But Charlie was. And there's a few other people who are like, I'll say this is who's getting better at it is Andrew Wilson as well. Andrew, I think, enjoys the fight more than the actual debate. I think he likes the back and forth more than actually like making a point and trying to change anybody's mind, because to him it's not about changing minds. It's about like punching people in the face, and that makes for great content on YouTube. But it's not going to change anybody's mind. And I think that Charlie Kirk at least went into his debates wanting to sort of like give people like food for thought, right? And even if the person he was debating was never going to change their mind and never going to fucking get it, somebody within the audience might go, I never thought of it that way. Right? And those are the people that you're trying to reach. And I know, because I've done the same thing, right? So what they're really trying to do is, you've got a guy, and I'm just going to use Charlie as an example right here. He's the voice of empiricism. He's speaking the language of empiricism, meaning here are the facts, here are the figures, here are the stats. You guys have heard me say this before. I'll reiterate it one more time. You cannot tell people facts. You cannot give them stats. You can't give them data without telling them how to feel about it. If you don't, they will shoot you in the fucking neck with a high-powered rifle. That's the extreme end of that conversation. They will hate you for it. Because what will they do? They will infer meaning. If you don't tell them how to feel about it, they will think that the very reason that you're bringing up those stats is so that you can make a point that these people are bad or these people are good. Because nobody wants to look at data and think, is this true? Is this false? That's not the question. The question is it good or is it evil? Are they on my team? Are they in my tribe? Or are they in the opposition, the enemy, the other, the outside tribe? That's what it comes down to. So you've got people who are the empiricists, and I like to count myself amongst that, that's why they call it the rational male, right? So the language of empiricism will always sound like hate to the language of emotionalism, because empiricism and facts and data and stuff doesn't taste good. Because the point isn't to taste good. It's not to make you feel better. It's not to make you say this is good or this is bad. It is only concerned with, is this true or is this false? That's all it is. And so can you maintain your beliefs? Can you maintain your ego investments in certain philosophies, ideologies, when you're being presented with confounding facts that are irrefutable facts? No, you can't. And so what happens is you have the people on the emotional side versus the people on the empirical side. And they start out with facts, but then eventually the emotional side runs out of gas. And that's when you get, who hurt you? Mommy didn't love you enough? Are your parents still together? Have you ever been in love? Do you know any actual woman? You need to go out and touch grass. Whatever it is, it's an emotional reframe because they can't win using the language of empiricism. And this is by the way, this is also one of the main frustrations that most men have with most women, because women tend to speak the language of emotionalism. Men who are not conditioned to do so usually use the language of empiricism. Remember when I told you guys about how women and men communicate? Women communicate covertly. They are much more adept with, subcommunications, body language, vocal intonations, innuendos, facial expressions, all this other stuff. Like, I've used this example before, but like, have you ever been in a group of, like, a mixed group usually, but it's usually like more women, and you're there and maybe you're at like some social event or something, and some chick walks in and nobody knows who she is. She's dressed in a certain way or whatever. And the girls are like, oh, hi, how, like all everything. That girl walks away to go off to do something. And they go, did you see that dirty look that bitch just gave me? And you're right there. You're a dude. You're right there. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? But they saw it, but you didn't, because you're a dude and you're not attuned to facial, word choice, how it was said, how it was delivered, what that word was followed by another word or some shit like that. And women will take those levels of communication to a different level, because that communication is fundamentally founded on emotionalism, which, by the way, is also what liberalism and egalitarianism is primarily focused on. When we talk about feels before reals, there is no more feminine a way of understanding the world and your truth as opposed to the truth. That there's no more feminine a way of looking at the world than feels before reals. Mm-hmm. How did it make you feel? Remember what we said? I've said this before as well, as when we talk about the triune mind theory. There's instinct, emotion, and reason. That's how women prioritize information. Men, unconditioned by a gynocentric social order, prioritize information and instinct, reason, and then emotion. Here's the instinct. Oh my God, the saber-toothed tiger is coming after me. What do I do? Well, we rely on our training. We figure out how to kill the beast, right? And then we go, man, that was really fucking scary. Then we process the emotion after danger is averted or the problem has been solved. Women, on the other hand, instinct, and then, oh my God, we're gonna die. And then maybe, well, here's what we can do, right? They prioritize the stimuli, the outside world, in different ways, right? That also crosses over into, again, egalitarianism versus hierarchies, but it also transfers into empiricism versus an emotionalism. And that also comes back to how we communicate. Women communicate covertly in an emotional language. Men communicate overtly in a language that is based on that prioritizes. I'm not saying it's just about this, but it prioritizes information and content, whereas female communication prioritizes feeling and context, right? How did it make them feel? Women love communication. That's why they want to get together and go, hey, let's catch up at Starbs. And they communicate like this.
Linear.
And then when men communicate, we communicate like this. Hey, so what do you think of the game, right? Hey, so I was at my friend's house the other day, and then they're relating information. They're not looking at each other. They're looking at the outside world or the game or whatever else is going on. Women, eye contact with you, right? Because women prioritize and communicate differently than men do. Men tend to rely on an empirical language. Women rely on an emotional language. And that's where we're fucking at right now. Because the civil war, or whatever you want to call it, between conservatives and liberals is going to be a war against empiricism versus emotionalism. Feels before reals or reals before feels. That's all this is about. You want to know why Charlie Kirk was killed for his beliefs? His beliefs were fundamentally based on reals before feels. Not to say that he wouldn't resort to that, because sometimes when he ran out of gas, it's like, well, let me look at the Bible right now. There's no religion, very emotional based. Okay. For empiricists, when you're talking about something, when you're data based, when you're stat based, when you're information based, that relies on reason. That relies on rationality. Emotionalism, obviously, it prioritizes emotion. How does this make us feel? This made me feel bad. Trigger warning. Why do we have trigger warnings? Because it might make you feel bad. It might offend certain people. What is offend? What is offense? Bad emotions. That's what it is. There's nothing empirical, logical, or anything to it. It doesn't matter whether it's true or false. It's how it made you fucking feel. So the war that's coming right now, that everybody keeps talking about, or you want to know why these girls who are on the street feel very comfortable in laughing and mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. The reason why they're feel that way is because they think everybody agrees with them. Feels before reals. Everybody feels. Of course, we know this is true. Follow your heart, girl. It'll never lead you astray. How many Disney movies have had that as a basis for the movie for the last 5 decades? It's the same shit. It's like Fern Gully. It's Avatar, which is basically Fern Gully in space, right? But it's when we talk about it feels before reals. It feels before reals in college. It feels before reals on the White House. It feels before reals in all branches of government. It feels before reals in your church. And I don't care what religion you are. It feels before real. Oh, the women in feminism have taken over the church. Yeah, because feels before reals. It's never reals before feels. It's never empiricism versus, and that's why they're running head to head right now. So when I've used this example on a few occasions, when I talk about transgender athletes, right? Remember during the Olympics where you had that one guy who was a boxer, the Olympic boxer, that just basically just went in and just like broke the jaw of all of these female boxers because he's a dude and he can put his weight in. There's no way those women can physically compete against a guy who is essentially a biological male. Now they'll say, well, she had female parts. Is his brain architecture male? Yes. Is his hormones and his muscularity, is that based on a male framework? Yes. So for all intents and purposes, it's a male, a biological male. Same thing with the swimmer. The number one female swimmer is a dude who was the number 437th dude swimmer for whatever the meters are in the pool, right? Like, he can be number one in female swimming, but he can't do shit in male swimming. So I'm just going to identify. So what happens is, you'll hear this constantly, it's a mass psychosis. We all have to agree. We all have to play along with it. oh yeah, you could, what do you feel like being like Zuby is holds the world's record in female deadlifts. He's a dude. Yeah. He went in, he said, I feel like I'm transgender and I feel like I'm a woman today. Goes in and signs himself up as a female. No one questions it. Goes in, breaks the female world record for deadlifts, promptly leaves the event, signs it back and says, I'm a man now. That's all he had to do. He just did it as a just to set an example. But so what's the difference, right? Well, the empirical side of it is you're a guy. And the empirical side of it is you have more muscularity. The empirical side of it is that the physicality of men is never going to be comparable to the average physicality of women. And what happens is we have for so long relied on this feels before reals reality or pretending that this is should be the reality, that when reals smashes headlong into feels, that's when you get transgender athletes trying to compete. Like, and it's always men who are dominating female sports, right? That's why you have to set rules. That's why Trump wanted to, I don't know if he did or not. That's why Trump wanted to say, hey, look, we're no longer going to allow biological males to compete in female sports. It's unfair. It's bullshit, right? Men and women are different. Well, men and women are different goes against the blank slate. And the blank slate underpins all of egalitarianism. So we can't have the blank slate. We can't have men and women are different and have an egalitarianism that is based on blank slate ideology, which is a dead meme anyways. It's Enlightenment thinking. It's nonsense and has been nonsense for a long time. We've plotted the human genome. We know it's not true. Men and women are different from the molecular level, from the cellular level, from the time we're like little freaking, I don't know, larva growing in mama's womb, right? And I love it when Charlie Kirk picked up on Matt Walsh's grift. Well, what is a woman, right? The reason why he started with that is because that question is empiricism bashing headlong into emotionalism, because emotionalism says, well, a woman is whatever you feel like it is, and it's relative, it's subjective, it's just whatever I'm feeling. I'm feeling like this, right? What are the qualities? What are the aspects of like what is a woman? Now, the reason why Matt Walsh did the same thing on Dr. Phil with the bearded lady, and that feminist or gender studies professor that was on that show. This is before I was on Dr. Phil. He went on there when he hadn't even put out what is a woman. He was just actually doing the groundwork for it there. And I actually did a video. I did a full dedicated video on that. And my takeaway from that whole thing was that was never going to be answered, because what would have had to happen is if any of those people who Charlie Kirk asked or Matt Walsh asked, what is a woman? If that person were forced to give you an empirical, factual, data-based definition of what a woman is and what a man is, because they're, well, what's a man, right? If that person who that question was put to gave you a definitive, concrete, objective-based answer, they would have to fundamentally rethink who they are, because their identity, their identity, their ego is based on a subjective interpretation of what a man is and what a woman is. When we talk about how men, like the men today, they're pussies, they're manginas, right? The masculine. Why are they asking me? Why is CBS coming in here and doing a show about the state of manhood and his masculinity in crisis? The only reason we have that as a show, the only reason that's even a documentary, is because we have done the same thing to masculinity that we've done to femininity. They're basically just asking, what is a man? Well, a man is whatever you want it to. I don't feel more masculine. Like I think it was it Justin Waller, and I forget who else was on. They were on Jubilee, and they put like these guys who are like sort of men's men versus these guys who are just kind of weesh, kind of like, I don't know, a man could be anything you want him to be, A man could be a woman if he wants to. A man could give birth. He could have periods too, and all this other stuff. And then you got Justin there going like, No, you're a dude. You know, you're a weak, weesh beta male dude, but you're still a dude. You're still a guy. You still have all the parts. But for that woman to answer what is a woman definitively, that would destroy her identity, and she would then been forced to reconsider her entire life, her entire identity, and anything that has ever led up to what created that identity. And what created that identity? Egalitarianism, the blank slate, emotionalism, social constructionism, all of that stuff. You take away social constructionism, egalitarianism, the blank slate, and say egalitarianism, emotionalism, egalitarianism, social constructionism, and the blank slate. Those four legs of the stool. You take out one or two or three of take those out. Anything, any issue, any ideology, any philosophy that is based on those collapses. And any identity that is based on those four pillars or those four legs of the stool collapses as well. That's why you get women laughing at Kirk, because they don't have to hear it anymore. Because he was the voice in their head saying, you need to reconsider your identity. He was the voice in their head thinking, your philosophy is wrong. Somebody tricked you. Like when I'm like, one of the reasons why we call it the red pill in the first place, right, is because you used to think one way, your blue pill way of thinking, and now you're in this red pill awareness. So I always use blue pill conditioning and red pill awareness. And that is the hardest transition for most guys, is crossing this abyss from what they thought that they knew to what the actuality of the reality that they're living in, right? And usually we do this as, like, guys do this because we have a new understanding of intersexual dynamics, right? So it's usually coming after a bad divorce or like a breakup or something. Like, most guys come to the red pill or come to that awareness, for lack of a better term, as a result of crisis or trauma, right? And so one of the things that when guys get into sort of the anger, we always talk about the anger phase of sort of going from blue pill to red pill. Most guys get really, not most guys, but a good portion of guys get stuck in what I call crossing the abyss. They get stuck in the anger phase. And the anger phase is not anger at women, it's anger at themselves for not having seen it sooner. I can't believe I was such an idiot. And the reason why it's so significant to them and it's so painful for these guys is because now they have to do what is a woman chick has to do when presented with a functional, objective definition of what a woman is. They now have to reconsider what their identity is. They had a blue pill identity. They had a blue pill way of thinking about things. Their religion might have been based on sort of blue pill understanding. Their philosophy, their politics, whatever, might have been based on this inaccurate, an understanding based on inaccurate information. I'm not going to say it's bad or good. I'm just saying it's based on inaccurate information. Now they have accurate information, and now they go, I can't live like this. I have to fundamentally become someone else. That's why your friends go, you're trying to be someone else. You're trying to be something you're not. No, yes, exactly. You're 100% right. I am trying to be something new that I am not, that I used to be. I don't want to be that anymore. I want to be something new because now I have accurate information. And again, this is male deductive logic, empirical way of thinking, rational, reasonable way of thinking. What happens is, now that I can't live a lie anymore, I have to become someone else. When you present that to a liberal mindset, to a leftist mindset, to an egalitarian mindset based on the blank slate, social constructionism, and emotionalism, when you present that to them, they will shoot you, literally shoot you for forcing them to consider that, to forcing them to consider something else. That's why it's the trans community that has been involved, the trans Tifa, right? That's why you see the guy who, at least at press time, the shooter has a trans boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the fuck it is, right? And is involved in that sort of militant trans community right now, who colluded to take out Charlie Kirk. Why? Because Charlie Kirk's empirical knowledge and fact-based questions forces them to reconsider their identities. And you know what it is? You're a dude. You're not going to be anything other than a dude. In fact, those are literally the words that came out of Charlie Kirk's mouth. You can pretend all you want to be female. You can insist that the entire world plays along with your psychosis and your pathology, but it doesn't change the objective, rational, empirical truth that your brain architecture is wired as a guy, your hormonal system is, your endocrine system is that of a male, your basically your molecular biology, your cellular biology is that of a human male, and there's no fucking way you will ever change that. So you might as well either live in the real world and change your identity according to those truths, or you can live a lie and anguish and hate and everything. All this, again, what's hate? An emotion. In anxiety, in urgency, in angst, whatever, for lack of a better term. All of those emotions. Because you don't want to face one fundamental fact, is that if you accepted that truth, you would have to become someone else. And they don't want to fucking do that. They would rather kill you than do that. Let me take these questions real quick here. All right, here we go. Hey, Kyle. Hey, Rolo. Please do not listen to these losers in your chat talking about Charlie Kirk. Anybody that celebrates death like that is a coward and has no business publicizing their opinions. I agree. But the reason why they come in here and they feel like they want to be heard is because they can't deal with the facts that Charlie Kirk put out. And that's why they come here. That's why they have to have some sort of emotional vent. This is their emotional venting in the chat. You feel important. You feel special. I've said this. I said this once as a joke on Access Vegas, but it's true. I 100% stand by this. There's no such thing as transgender. You are homosexual. You are gay and boring. That's all. You're not trans. You're gay and boring. Because it's not enough. You're not special enough to be gay. Anybody can be gay now. And nobody cares. We got gay care. Like, I've been watching like Netflix and stuff like, oh, I'm really into this series. And then suddenly like two guys start kissing and I'm like, fuck. Do I watch the end of it or do I not watch the? And you know what's funny is like, what bugs me, and I think it should bug homosexual individuals as well, is they're unnecessarily gay characters. Them being homosexual has no effect, no bearing whatsoever on the plot, other than the fact that we need to throw a couple of homosexual people in here. That's all it is. It's like you're not writing a story, you're pandering, and you've just gone from actually a pretty good plot to pandering, and I'm out and I'm done. Please, if you're a writer, if you're a Hollywood screenwriter or script writer, please avoid unnecessarily homosexual characters. Like I can remember I forget the last show I saw, but you got these two guys that are kissing or whatever. And I'm like, those two characters could just as easily be played by a married couple, like a man and a woman. In fact, it would almost be more believable. Rather than like, okay, they're putting these characters as homosexuals, not because it drives a plot in any way, shape, or form. Like one of them dies, and then they move on to the next. Like it didn't matter that person was homosexual, other than the fact that you wanted to throw a bone to the gay community. That's all it is. And if I was homosexual, I would feel pandered to. I would feel it would be contrived. Please, screenwriters, do not avoid the unnecessarily gay characters. You'll be better for it. We'll all be better for it. I'm not saying don't put a homosexual couple if it drives the plot. If this happens because they're gay in the plot, fine. Do whatever you're going to do, right? But don't try to normalize homosexuality, or don't try to present this couple or these characters here and then not have them do anything as a result of them actually being a homosexual couple. You're just pandering. But anyways, the reason why I say that transgender people are basically homosexuals that are just boring is because it's not exciting enough. You're not special enough to be just homosexual now. Everybody's gay, even Aaron Clary. They're all gay. Yeah, maybe. Oh, who knows? Jury's still out. Love you, Aaron. No homo. Everybody's gay. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But it's not you're not special enough. Now it's got to be transgender. Now I got to be neurodivergent. Now I got to be whatever. And I want to point one thing out. And I'm speaking of facts and figures. I dragged this one out of mothball recently. Did you know? Actually, you know what? Let me just go put this up here. I will throw this up because I think you guys need to see this, because no one else is going to show this to you, because no one will touch this, but Rollo Tomasi will, probably against my better judgment. Oh, wait a minute. I got to put it here. So one of the things I had in my bookmarks that I just came back to recently was this. There we go. So I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but I will make you aware of it now. Let me share my screen because it's in my Twitter. Share screen, and there you go. Okay, here we go. This is in my Twitter right here. Now, this is what I put, and this is actually from the article itself. A study of over 600,000 adults finds that those who are transgender and gender diverse are 6 times more likely to have a diagnosis of autism than quote unquote cisgender adults, than heterosexual adults. I'm not even going to use their language anymore. Okay. So 600,000 adults are 6 times more likely to have had a diagnosis of autism. So it's pretty much a reliable predictive framework that if this person is transgender, they probably are on the spectrum in some way, shape, or form. Okay, let's move on to the next stat here. Autism. I've used this stat. I've shown this stat before a couple of times here. Autism. This is the increase. Autism prevalence has increased 317%. That is astronomically high since 2000. Now, is that because we're more aware of it? Is that because the diagnosis criteria has changed? I don't know. But right now, 1 in 36 individuals in 2023, according to the CDC, is somewhere on the autism spectrum right there. So that's the next fact that I wanted to show. And then finally, the last one here. This is figure 1, is the percent of US adults identifying as transgender by age group 2014 through 2013, or 2023. Source, Behavioral Risk Surveillance Survey, CDC, similar to figure 6, 5, and 10. Okay, so this, I'll show it to you. Now look at the age difference. This is the red line here. That is 18 to 24, which is the demographic that the shooter and his boyfriend and all of their good friends that are involved in this, I guess it's a Blue Sky forum or whatever, that they're all involved in. And then if you're 25 to 34, it's a little bit lower than that. But if you're in the 18 to 24 cohort, you are astronomically high right now. So compare this. Correlate this with this right here. Now, I understand that correlation is not causation, but this is one hell of a fucking correlation. And people are going to criticize me and go, Raleigh, you don't know anything about autism. I'm not saying I do. I am not an expert on autism. I can, however, read stats, and I can, however, read graphs, okay? So when I see something like this and then I see this,
I'm able to make informed inference.
I can pretty make, my deductive inference, Kyle. Something's going on here.
That wasn't for you meddling kids.
Yes. And now we're going to say, oh, it's because of fluoride in the water. It must be the Jews. It must be antidepressants. It must be like hormonal birth control. Well, as far as I know, hormonal birth control came well before 1970. So I don't know if it's necessarily that. I'm pretty sure it might have had what amazing invention happened right around the mid 90s to the 2000s. The internet. Let's see. When was Gen Z born? 1999 through what? I think right about where we are right now, right? Somewhere along there. I know we're in Generation Alpha, which is kind of an interesting designation, but I just wanted to point that out. And then, of course, the last thing I do is this: Charlie Kirk was assassin, lived with a transgender partner. And this is you guys have probably already read this. I don't have to like reiterate that. But I think what's interesting is that we've also had this rash of violence from the militant transgender community right now. We just saw what had happened. Was it Michigan or Minnesota? It was Wisconsin. Wisconsin?
I guess Wisconsin.
It was the Catholic school.
Yeah.
And again, I would also like to point out that myself, Aaron Clary, Rich Cooper, MTR, Sandman,
Minnesota. Yeah.
Minnesota. All of us who were part of the list of usual suspects, Aaron Clary, that were subject to the Diverting Hate NGO that got us listed as quote unquote radicalizing incels, who, thanks Will Costello, also contributed to putting incels on the DHS terrorist watch list. Guess what? You fucked up. It wasn't the incels you needed to worry about. It was the trans community. Those are the guys you should have been watching for, because there have been more mass shootings from that community in the last, year and a half, 18 months, than there have been in the last 15 years of the red pill or the quote unquote incel community or anything like that. Okay. Within the last 18 months. Guess what? Maybe we should stop doing fictionalized accounts of the manosphere and Andrew Tate and the red pill and all this other stuff and things like adolescence. And maybe we should sell this to Netflix. Maybe they need to do some kind of documentary or docu-entertainment series about the trans community. Maybe that needs to happen. I don't know. Maybe it's just the empiricist in me pointing in this direction. But if that's the case, if the shoe fits, then the shoe fits. Why? Again, I don't hate on anybody. I don't care. I know that they're marginalized. They count for a fraction of 1% of the population. I don't bear them any ill will, but I have to point out the facts. Those are the stats. I just showed you the stats. Autism, transgenderism. So showed you the rise was 600,000 individuals. Like I said, that's a hell of a correlation. If I'm wrong, I want to know, because I'm interested in open debate. Please don't kill me. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just work here. I'm just relating to you the factual information that you probably don't want to hear. Let's see. The abortion passes is not politics. It's HR. No, it is fucking politics, because abortion was kicked to the fucking states by the federal government or by SCOTUS, by the Supreme Court of the United States. That how more political do I like? How else do I need to say this? How many different ways, right? The benefits attract talent and avoid legal mess. That's why the standard practice for big firms. Yes. And oddly enough, again, correlations not causation. Oddly enough, came out in 2022 during the midterm elections when all this shit was going down. Yeah. It's not political. No, do you think politics don't affect businesses? Again, even if you're 100, even if I agreed with you 100%, it still doesn't give Elon Musk any fucking traction to talk about the fertility crisis when his own fucking company is doing it in 2025. Shut the fuck up, Elon. Wipe your ass with the fertility crisis until you repeal those benefits. Until you go and say, well, you know what? We're more important. We would like women to have kids, so we're going to make it more difficult for them to have abortions because we want to, in some way, counter the fertility crisis. If that was Elon Musk, I would. I wouldn't say a thing. But until then, go fuck yourself, Elon Musk. It's not politics. It's just good business. Sometimes politics is good business. Charlie Kirk, when you destroy me, you'll make me more powerful than ever. You can't destroy. You make me more powerful than ever. It's funny. My wife was going to church this Sunday. Obviously, I do the show here, but my wife's going off to church. I go, baby, I said, tell me how many. I'll find out later on tonight. I said, tell me how many people are in church today. I guarantee I was. I'm glad I did too, because I expect there's going to be a huge revival after all of this, and maybe rightly so. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. Again, I just work here. I'm just pointing out the facts. I'm just here for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That's all I am. Okay. I thought it was ironic because I listened to Jeremy from The Quartering.
Yeah.
And he starts his show with, I'm just about to head out to church. He's like, I haven't willingly gone to church in a long time, but I feel like I need to now. And I'm like, there it is. So it took Charlie Kirk being assassinated for Jared to want to go to church. As I said, people don't make changes unless it's a point of trauma or crisis. And here we are. Hi, please explain fogging to avoid fights in a relation. Fogging. Generation Z, what is fogging?
That's not me. I don't know.
And do you recommend using fogging? Ryan Stone talks about fogging, but I want your explanation. I would have to ask Ryan about that. I have no earthly idea what you mean by fogging. I'm sure it's probably something bonehead simple that I've already covered, and then like somebody put a cutesy name to it, and I don't know what fogging is. So,
Assertive technique where you calmly agree
What?
with any part of criticism, or in suitable, therefore neutralizing the aggressive communication. Okay, so it's like de-escalating the conversation
by pandering to the person.
Yeah.
Just say pandering, bitch. I mean, come on. Like, the English language is very diverse. So pandering. Well, essentially, that's what agree and amplify is, isn't it? I mean, that's what amuse mastery is. Oh, Daddy, did you know dinosaurs do X and O? Really? No, tell Daddy more.
Teach me.
Yeah. Fogging. I'm going to have to talk to Ryan about that. Sorry. Now I'm going to have words with Mr. Stone. What do you think about etiquette demands from women, which I would not like doing forever? Etiquette demands from women, which I would not like doing forever. You mean you don't want to do them forever? And do the woman forever? Why would you have to do her forever? Things like opening doors, pulling chairs, walking next to the street, and standing when a lady shows up. You don't feel like doing those? Then don't fucking do those. Do you feel like here's the thing. Why do you feel like you need to do those things? Let's turn this around. Why do you feel like you have to do those things right now? What do I think about etiquette demands? I don't think most women demand those things. I think it's nice when somebody does those. By the way, right now, that's just good game. I wish I could say that, like, oh, well, a gentleman does these things. Well, I know Justin Waller is a fine, upstanding Southern gentleman. I got to do my foghorn leghorn. Southern gentleman. I say. What in the wide world of sports is going on around here? But no, I mean, why do you feel like you have to do those things? Justin does those things because it's just the way he was brought up, and women will say, well, that's because he's an upstanding, fine, young Southern gentleman who happens to be extremely hot, very wealthy, 6'4", and drives a Mercedes G-Wagon. So yeah, is it Mercedes or is it Bronco? It's the G-Wagon.
G-Wagon's Mercedes.
Mercedes, right? Yeah, I thought so. God, I've been in that. Man, the seats like
They're
give you a
nice, yeah.
fucking like, oh
Massage.
man, do I got a happy ending with this? Yeah. Why do you feel like you have to? Like, should you? You're going to ask me should or would? I'll give you my opinion, but why do you feel like you have to? Etiquette demands. I don't think demands is maybe the word we should be using here. Oh, I demand that you do these things. No woman demands those things, but if you do them, it might be endearing to them. It might be something. I don't think that they necessarily, I demand that a man get up and take open my door for me. No, you don't. You go and you do that before the demand even starts. You pay for the date. You open the door. You do those things. Like, that's Do you open the door for little old ladies at the bank? Do you hold the elevator? Bitch, if you don't hold the elevator for me, especially in this building right here, I will kick your fucking ass. Because that elevator is slow. Do you hold the elevator for people? Well, why is it a demand for a woman and not a demand for like the little old dude that comes in and, you know, with a newspaper under his arm? Why? Why is that any different, right? Just how about this? Don't be an asshole. You know, why don't you be cool with people? Do you feel like do you feel put upon for like pulling chairs out or opening a door? Like, I don't even pull a chair out for my wife. Are you kidding? I'll open the door for her in the Camaro because I know it's a big, heavy ass door. I'm not doing it because I'm like some fine Southern gentleman. She probably would look at me weird if I did that, right? I mean,
I guess for me, it's consistency.
I open the door like, okay, so I shouldn't say that. If when we go to the gym, when we go to a store or we go to a restaurant, I always get the door and open the door for my wife, right? Because that's what a husband does for his wife. All right. Maybe you don't agree with me. I don't feel like, damn it, you need to open the door for me. Like, we've never had that conversation in 30 years of marriage. That's never happened. Yes. What? But you know why you do those things? Because you're a dude and you're different. If you feel put upon, then just don't do them. It's not a big deal. Can you be an incel and be married? Oh, yes. I know the answer. Okay. Yes, you can. In a sexless marriage, you absolutely can. I was also going to say you can also be friend zoned in your marriage as well. Or your girlfriend can friend zone you just as easily as when you're single as when you're in together. There is a word that is opposite to empiricism, and it is irrationalist, which is Destiny and the shooter. No, they're emotionalists. You can be irrational all you want. Yeah, that's just like the polar opposite, right? I got it, right? But this is not a conflict between rationalism versus irrationalism. As I said before, the people who would debate Charlie Kirk, the people that would debate Matt Walsh, the people who would debate me for fucks, or if hell, even Myron and Fresh on in just a few moments here, just one more hour on whatever podcast, go on there and watch what happens. Brian, he'll read it from a script, but Brian will point out like some stats and some figures and some facts and stuff like that, and it doesn't taste good. They don't taste good. It doesn't leave them with a good feeling. Remember when I told you I did the interview with Michaela Peterson, and then she goes on with Chris Williamson. She goes, I talked to that Rollo Tomasi guy, and I just didn't like the way it felt afterwards. I'm like, good, because that's not the point. Did you learn something? Did it have an effect on you? Did you think of things in a different way? I don't care if it tastes like fucking French vanilla after the fucking fact. I care that you learn something. I care that some constructive, substantive conversation. And sometimes those conversations feel like shit. God, especially when it challenges something that you had, a deeply held belief that you've had. I get it, man. I don't know. It didn't feel good afterwards. Were you expecting it to? Because that expectation is exactly what I'm talking about. I wanted to feel there needs to be a happy ending at the end of Titanic. No, the ship fucking sinks. It's a tragedy. Deal with it. There's not always a resolution to it. God, it was there. I forget which series it was. Oh, I know. It was I was watching that, and it sucks. Don't watch this. It's bullshit. But I can't believe I actually watched the whole thing. There's a series on Apple Plus. It's called Smoke. And it's about this guy who is an arsonist investigator. He happens to be the arsonist. Like, he's actually the criminal. Like, you never get like that's a twist. Okay, so sorry, spoiler alert. And then the cop who is his partner, the actual police woman who is his partner, she's actually guilty of like 2 murders. She's guilty of like setting a house on fire, arson, and blaming it on him, right? She gets away scot-free, and he's the one that actually goes to jail. And I was thinking, it would have been so much better if he got away scot-free and she was the one that went to jail, right? That would have been a better twist. I think a better ending for it than not. But you're never going to see that happen because we want it to feel good at the end of the thing. No, sometimes Greek tragedies are great fucking plays because they're tragedies. It's Titanic. The ship sinks. That's the whole thing. It sucks. Oh my God. Oh, the humanity, you know, like what the Hindenburg crashes. It explodes, man. There's no getting around it. That's what happened. But wouldn't it be great if the Hindenburg just actually stayed together and it didn't actually explode and it just flew away and we, you know, no.
Once upon
Hollywood? Yeah. Sometimes a bad like Rocky, the first Rocky movie. Rocky loses. I don't know if you guys have figured this one out since 1976 or whatever. Rocky actually loses. Sorry, spoiler alert. Sucks. But that's how the story went. That's how the guy, that's how Sylvester Stallone wrote that movie. Came back and did a sequel where he won and then had some cheesy ones after that. But it's a tragedy. The fucking movie is a tragedy and it's okay. It was it won Oscars. Yep. And he was a nobody before that. And Rocky was a phenomenon during the 70s, right? And he loses. Sometimes bad endings happen. Or, oh God, oh my God, I just thought of it. I am, okay, nerd alert, dork alert, okay? As if you didn't know already. I'm a huge fan of Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
Have you seen?
Yeah.
Did you watch the last season, the one, the sixth season when they sum everything up?
I have not.
I'm going to ruin it for you. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. So he falls in love with Aki.
Okay.
And Aki is like, she's kind of like a ninja. So he wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
She was part of an elite group of ninjas that like, I don't know, martial arts or whatever, that were sent by Aku. They were the daughters of Aku, right? And you know who Aku is, right?
Yeah.
And so all of them die except for Aki, and Aki ends up falling in love with Samurai Jack, right? But remember, they're in the past, right? So what happens is he finds his way back to the future, and Aki comes with him, right? In the future, he kills Aku, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is because Aku is dead, Aki could never live, and she disappears, and she's gone. And even I got a lump in my like, oh my God, because they build it up and all that build up, and you think they're going to live happily ever after. No, she just disappears because she can't exist without Aku, right? And I was like, twist the knife, like right in the feels. Because I've been a huge Samurai Jack fan since the very first one on Cartoon Network. And so I watched that and I'm like, and you know, so what do you think happened with the fan fucking base?
What happened?
Rewrite the ending. We want them to live together. And like, no, that's how Gene Tartovsky or Kennedy or something, I can't remember the guy's name is. That's how he wanted it to fucking end. And that's how the story ended because the artist said, this is how it goes. And everybody's like, no, they should live happily ever after because we want it to feel good. No, it's significant. And I remember it right now because it fucking sucked. Because you're like, oh God, and so like whenever I see this occasionally, like on Twitter, they'll say, name a tragic character, or name a more tragic character than, and I'll start. It's basically like engagement bait, right? I throw out Samurai Jack and Aki or whatever, and oh my God, people like go, oh my God, you're so right. Because they remember that, man. It's significant. It was harsh because it was a tragedy, man. It wasn't a happy ending. That's okay. Jeez, man. What's wrong with you, kid? Get off my lawn. All right. Do I need to go into anything else today? Charlie Kirk. What can be said about Charlie? So I want to just finish up what I was saying about empiricism versus emotionalism, because and I'm not hoping this happens. I don't want this to happen, but everybody's going, oh, it's a civil war. We're going to, and I will tell you right now, I've been pretty pissed off just watching Twitter. I could go to Twitter right now, scroll. I should just do this. I should scroll through my Twitter just so you guys could see just story after story after story after story, feed after feed. And it's all just ridiculing, mocking, hate for Charlie Kirk. It's just one story, and then interspersed in there is the UK marches, right? And it's just over and over and over again. And I don't get this way, but I got this way. I don't get Twitter fatigue because it's my livelihood. I'm a different person on Twitter, as Mike Sartain will let you know. But I have to turn it off. I'm just like, it's the same shit. It's boring. I've got fucking Twitter fatigue because I got Charlie Kirk Twitter fatigue because it's nothing but one outrage. It's just outrage brokership. It's one outrage after the next, after the next, after the next. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If you are on that side of the political aisle, if you are on that divide is growing greater and greater and greater. And there's only this and there's only this. It's becoming very, very binary. Finding some sort of medium between the two. Like I said, I punch both ways, but if there's a liberal side and a conservative side, I'm much more towards the conservative side than I am towards the liberal side. Although they're like people throw this shit at me. Well, Rollo, you believe in casual sex and you have access to Vegas and you're part of the problem. You're liberal as anybody else. So like, no, that's who you see online. Like, have you had a conversation with me? Would you like to talk about political issues? I don't do politics. So how the fuck would you know? Right? Oh, he doesn't wear a cross around his neck. So he wears a monitor or whatever. He wears a hammer. Therefore, he must be a 8th degree Mason. Was it?
Pagan above so below. Hold on, let me put the evil voice. There you go.
As above, so below. Come to the Lord of the pit.
There, are you happy now? There's your clip. See, I knew he was a Satanist. I mock Satanists, LARPing. I mock your religion, all of your religions. Get the fuck out of my face. You know, it's just, if you want to ask me something, ask me something. You want to know what my faith is? I wrote a very intensive book about that. It's called The Rational Male Religion. It's my 4th book. If you would like to know what my personal faith is and you don't want to, please spare me having to reiterate the same bullshit that I've actually spent 3 years of my life writing in that book. Do me a solid and actually buy it's not that expensive. Buy the book. Hell, get the Audible. Fast forward to chapter 14, the last chapter in the book. That's where I get into that stuff. You really want to know what I'm about? There you go. It's save me the oxygen. Save me the carbon dioxide I would have to expel to tell you all about it, because I went into great detail about it right there. You could take me to task. You want to run me up the flagpole? Please do. But before you do, read the fucking book so you know what the fuck you're talking about. You're a pagan. Please go read the book before you make a further idiot. God, I should dig up the picture. So I have this one picture of me like this, and I'll see if I can do it here. I was standing, and I had one leg up, or not standing. I was seated, and I was at the Pink Party last year, and I was like this, doing the can opener position. Like I was doing the can opener, right? If you know, so you can make a big splash, right? Somebody saw that picture and they go, he's trying to look like the Hanged Man from the tarot card deck. I think he's a Mason, right? Because apparently, and they showed me the card. Apparently, there's the upside down hang guy is in that position, but he's hung by his ankle. Like how the fuck? Really? Really?
Here, Rollo, let's do our secret handshake that only Freemasons know.
Show me the high sign. This is the high sign. Give me the signal. Come on, man. Cut me some slack.
In the chapter of religion, there's chapter 33, the 33 Mason. There you go.
What is it? Where is it? Wait. There, that's what you do. That's what you get. That's what you get from me. All right. So anyways, but as far as the empiricism versus the emotionalism go, if we get to that point, understand that that's where it's coming from. As I said before, taken to its logical extreme, like you can't tell people facts, figures, data, anything like objective without telling them how to feel about it. And so when Charlie Kirk goes up there and he wins debate after debate after debate, it's because you ran out of gas and you tried to do an emotional reframe. And the emotional reframe this time was a 5.56 rifle, like a bolt action rifle. That was your emotional reframe. I said this on Pat Campbell's show. I remember when Nicholas Cruz, the school shooter Nicholas Cruz, who I think is on death row right now, I'm pretty sure. But I think he was a high school kid, right? And Nicholas Cruz, it was in Florida. And I want to say it was around 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. And Pat had said something to the effect of like, why does this stuff keep happening? Blah, blah, blah. And I go, well, the reason why it keeps happening is because he's just following his programming. Well, what do you mean? We need to have more fathers and we need to have guys in there to teach these kids what's what. And I go, we've tried that. We already tried that. And they lose custody, right? Or there's no father figures, or there's no positive masculinely male role models at school, right? And I said, Nicholas Cruz is just doing what all of his female teachers taught him to do, which was express himself emotionally. But men, boys, males, their default emotion is anger. Their default emotion is and what's the behavioral manifestation of that? Violence. So when Nicholas Cruz shot up the school, and I think it was in Florida, when he shot up the school in Florida, he was just doing what he was told to do. He was expressing himself emotionally with an assault rifle. Yeah, that's all he was. Yeah. He was expressing himself with a gun. And that's all this dumb fuck kid was doing too. Because if I had to guess, and I'm just going to go out on a limb, I could be wrong. I'll eat my words if that's the case. But my guess is that the guy, the shooter, wanted to kill Charlie Kirk, first of all, to impress all the people that were in his like users group at Blue Sky or whatever, like Discord or whatever it was on. But not only that, but also to sort of like ingratiate himself to his transgender lover. Don't worry. It was almost as if the guy was simping for his lover and then doing it by an act of violence, right? I'll show you how much I love you, baby. I'll kill him for you. I'll shut him up. And now, so we're talking about freedom of speech, and if you go out there and you might get shot and everything. And I will tell you right now, the first thing I talked about this with Mike, I said the first thing we have to be concerned with right now is copycats. And so when Ben Shapiro, who again I have my differences with Ben Shapiro, goes out and starts saying about like how he's not going to go do college tours anymore, and then he says, "But I'm not going to be silenced," and then he decides to be brave and go and do it himself, right? Or Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is saying, look, if you are of the persuasion that you're going to, mock Charlie Kirk, unfollow me. People are drawing the line right now. And I have to say, I understand the sentiment, because it's like, you might not be interested in war, but war is interested in you. That's a Trotsky quote. That's not a Rollo Tomassi quote. I put that up on Twitter. People go, "Oh, have you ever been in a war, Rollo?" Shut up, you stupid spurg. That is a quote from Leon Trotsky. Guess you missed that day in school, didn't you? You don't want to talk about an uprising. You want to talk about a civil war. It's going to look more like the Bolshevik revolution than anything else. It's going to be the collectivists. It's going to be the communitarians. It's going to be the egalitarians. It's going to be the socialists versus the empiricists versus the hierarchy versus the male hierarchy. What's left of it, anyways. You want to know if there's ever going to be any kind of like quote unquote. So I don't necessarily think there is going to be, and I'll tell you why. Because most conservatives are just too fucking lazy. They didn't do jack shit in 2020, and they won't do jack shit right now. They'll talk a good game, it'll cool off, and then they'll wait for the next act of violence, and they'll do exactly the same thing because again, it's not real enough for them to do jack shit. people go, oh, I'm worried about conservatives actually, trying to assassinate some Kamala Harris or whoever, name a liberal like Destiny to gun down Destiny, right? No, it's not going to happen because they tried that. They tried that in 2020. Remember May of 2020? I do. Remember during the height of COVID, man. All these guys, all these Antifa guys were out there smashing in the windows of banks and City Hall and spray painting, and they were basically desecrating the graves of military graves. They were going out and tearing down statues. They were vandalizing and spray painting statues and monuments. And if they could have, they would have found some way to tear down Mount Rushmore, right? They would have done all that. They went and did all of this stuff. They burned churches. They went and, like I said, essentially desecrated national monuments and stuff like that. And you know why they did that? Because they were looking for an emotional rise. They were looking to provoke conservatives because they really wanted a flashpoint event so that they would be justified in what would account it for a civil war during 2020. Okay, never materialized. And the reason why? Conservatives are lazy. Like if it doesn't prevent them from going to work and making money and paying their bills, it's not real to them. And so that's why, I wish I had more confidence in all of this. I wish I could say, well, it's going to really motivate people to actually, stand up and do something. But unless it becomes real to you, people aren't going to do that unless they have nothing left to lose. And in May of 2020, people still had a lot to lose. They didn't realize the severity of it. When people start talking about January 6th, January 6th was this uprising and it was this seditious act. And Trump was like, no, you know what it was? It was a Reichstag event that was engineered by the DNC. They wanted conservatives. They wanted Republicans, conservatives to go in and set fire to the Capitol. They were hoping that something like that was going to happen, and it didn't. Because either they were too well behaved or it never occurred to them, but they wanted something where it was going to be a Reichstag event where they were going to go and burn down Parliament like they did in Nepal just recently, right? They wanted something like that. It never happened. What happened to the pipe bombs?
Right.
What happened to the pipe bombs in DC? No, nobody talks about those anymore, right? Because they got caught with their pants down. They thought it was going to be something more than it actually was, and it wasn't. It was just basically some rowdy rednecks on a private tour of the Capitol. Did somebody get hurt? Somebody get killed? Yeah, of course. But that was probably unintentional. I think they really wanted it to go more violent. That's why they were prosecuting people like Pat Stedman, for basically tweeting or using a cell phone from, some senator's office or something like that. And of course now he's out and I don't know if he's pardoned, but he's, out for good behavior or some shit like that. But the thing is that they wanted it to be something more than it was. It wasn't a revolution. It wasn't it wasn't sedition. It wasn't anything like that. It was a pre-planned, shit like that doesn't happen. If they didn't want that to happen, it wouldn't have happened. Do you think they couldn't have put National Guard troops around there? Do you think that they could not have had a real military presence around there to repel all invaders? Of course they could. They didn't. They invited them fucking in. They were doing live streams on CNN from inside of it, man, for fuck's sake. So, but the reason why is because the conservatives were lazy. They weren't going to set anything on fire. They weren't going to go that crazy. And if they had, then things might have turned out a little bit differently, but they didn't, because conservatives don't do shit, and they won't do shit this time either. I hate to say that, because in some ways I'm kind of like, hey, what is it going to take? Killing Charlie Kirk, that's not enough. Tearing down statues, that's not enough. What else? Desecrating military graves, that's not enough. Burning churches, that's not enough. What's enough? We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't necessarily think so, but all right. Have you read the book of Enoch or the audiobooks? If so, tell me your quick thoughts about it. If not, check it out. Other than isn't it a biblical book?
Yeah.
I've never read it. Is there some like end times prophecy that I'm supposed to be aware of? That if he'd read the Book of Enoch, he wouldn't be doing any of this live stream.
Well, Enoch's basically about the Anunnaki and basically the Old Testament. It's like still in the Ethiopian Bible, I think.
Was it a tribe of Israel?
No. I don't.
Is it Old Testament or New Testament?
Old Testament.
Old Testament.
Old Testament. It's old book.
All right, I'll check it out. The boxing match last night. Oh yeah, with Canelo. Did Canelo win?
No, he lost.
He lost. Ah, shit. Last night showed you how important strength is. Bud pushed the bigger Canelo around. Stay in the gym like Rollo. It helps. Yeah, you want to push me? You don't have me to push around anymore. Love you, Rollo. Love you too. And Mr. Asshole Consulting are the best. Thoughts on Marquette? What do you want me to say? Great content, but dude fights with everyone these days. You got to remember. A lot of I like Marquette, and I'll tell you what's funny. Like, I'll just give you an example. Here's what I think of Marquette. Okay, I like him. I think he has when you have him and you're having a conversation with just Marquette, it's great, just fucking awesome. But you'll also notice that Marquette will put out titles on his shows like Marquette destroys Rollo Tomasi, and then I show up on his show. We're like, psych, fuck you guys. We're actually good friends, right? There's marketing, and then there's friendship, and then there's content. So that's the best I can say. I like Marquette quite a bit. If you go on YouTube and see live channels, they're celebrating Charlie Kirk unliving. Of course, I know. Mass report them just like they did to us 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Shit, they did 5 years ago.
Last year.
Last year. Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah. I think what's interesting is I get run up the flagpole by the DHS. I get on a list with Aaron Clary on, Diverting Hate NGO and all this other stuff. And look where all of that went. Nowhere. But look where we are right now. I've outlasted the DHS. I've outlasted Destiny. I've outlasted God knows how many other people, right? How many more people do I got to outlast before you start taking me seriously, right? Rollo, you're just not as popular as those guys. I've outlasted every one of those motherfuckers that you just listed as being more popular. And you know what? I'll still be here unless I die in surgery from my fistula, my raging fistula. That's going to be the name of my new band. Okay, here we go. Sam Botta says, yep, the Book of Enoch does touch on what's happening in the end times. It also explains why God flooded the earth. Because guys were fucking guys in the ass. Because that seems to me like Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Remember Lot's wife? Like, don't turn around, don't look back, right? And of course, the dumb bitch. You know why I said don't turn around? Because if you turned around, it meant you wanted to go back. And that bitch wanted to go back. Mm-hmm. Well, you're a pillar of salt. Fuck, I would have done that too. I don't blame God one bit. Right on.
Sulfur bombs.
Right on, God. Sulfur bombs. Yes. Just got back from visiting my mom. Good for you. One thing this event has done is wake people up like her. She's realized things I've said for years are true. Yeah, good. Good for you. Fistula rage fila. Yeah. I'm gonna make a shirt that says that, but it's gonna be like that really like barbed wire kind of thorny looking, so you can't read it, like in a Swedish death metal logo. Fistula rage fila. I like it. That's what I'm gonna name the new podcast.
You can have the letters as bubble letters, kind of look like the intestines.
Yeah.
Mark the barbed wire.
Cannibal core. But was it bovine vivisection? Bovine vivisection. Yeah. Yes. Come on now. Fistula ragefula is a metal name if there ever was one. Yes. The necklace looks Nordic. Yeah, it is. Congratulations. You found me out. Yep. It's so funny. I joke around with Rachel Wilson, who is Andrew Wilson's wife, and she's always talking about she's gotten really religious. She's always been really religious and this and that. And, and it's like, violence is always the answer, or is, Christians can be violent too if they want to be, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, y'all motherfuckers need Odin. Your Odin's not real. I don't know, man. Would we have this problem if you all worshipped Odin, Thor? Yeah, probably not. Anyways, now what was I going to say? God, I had a thought in my head. Anyways, I know what it was. That he was talking about his mom. I didn't need Charlie Kirk to make me hate the left any more than I needed the vaccines and COVID to make me hate the left that much more, because it was that stupid fucking mentality that took my mom away from me. And I will probably say this once again on December 3rd, which is when my mother passed away. But for the last 8 months of her life, I got to talk to her through a fucking window because of all you fucking idiots, all you liberal fucking idiots who wanted to tell us that, COVID-19 this and COVID that, and take the vaccine and all this other shit. And here I have to, and I couldn't see my mom on the day that she died. I wasn't there for her when she died because she was in an assisted living facility and they wouldn't even let me go and see her. By the way, they also wouldn't let me take hold of the body because they were worried about COVID-19. And let me also explain one more thing to you. When she was buried in Lake Tahoe, because she had a burial plot there, I had to strong arm the fuckers to allow my mother-in-law. It was just me, my brother, his family, and my family. And my mother-in-law wasn't technically immediate family. And so because of COVID concerns, they didn't want her there. I'm like, I will fucking kill you. If you do not let my mother-in-law in this thing, I will seriously, I'll put you in that fucking grave with my mom right now. And they're like, that's okay. So she's technically part of your immediate family. She lives with you. Da, da, da. I'm like, don't fucking pander to me. You can't make me dislike, because hate's a strong word. You can't make me dislike the left any more than I already do as a result of what happened with my mother. But Charlie Kirk is in a real running for that money right there. I'll tell you that right now. And for a lot of other people as well. And a lot of people don't make a change and everything. And again, I'm not calling for violence. I would never do such a thing. Certainly not on YouTube. And I don't think that should be the answer. I think it would be great if we could all honor Charlie Kirk's memory by getting more involved in open debate. But you can't debate with somebody who has expressly, openly said that they want to kill you, that they want to end you. And that's really where this is coming down to. And it's gotten to the point where they're comfortable in saying those things. I have to watch my words on this channel, on Twitter, on Instagram. There are certain things I would love to say in response to some of these sons of bitches, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to lose my channel and I don't want to have a TOS violation, and I don't want to have anything like that. So I'm not going to do that. But no, I'm thinking it. But the reason is like, you can't have open debate with these people anymore. You can't. I will not even entertain the idea. Like, a debate doesn't exist anyways, because it's really just a shouting match now. It's not. It's postmodernist debate is what it is. It's not actual classical debate, which is debating an issue. It's debating the person right now. Are you good or are you bad? Well, that's what it came down to on September 10th in Utah. Was, are you good or are you bad? Bang. That's what it was. And that's why when people feel comfortable enough to say, oh, he got what he deserved, ha 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 ha, and laugh and everything else, they feel comfortable enough to do that. Know that that's what that mentality is about. That female psyche, egalitarian, blank slate horse shit is really about. And you're going to see more and more of this conflict as empiricism smacks headlong into emotionalism. When reals outranks feels, and the more reals comes into play, the less feels come, the less important and less significant feels are. And what happens is the less significant feels are. Remember Gad Saad on Joe Rogan? Fuck your feelings. Right? That wasn't to like goad you or to make you feel. That was actually a statement of fucking fact. Fuck your feelings. because we need to. There's no way to. Your feelings are no way or no basis, no framework to build a life on. I'm not saying feelings don't count. I mean, I'm an artist, I'm a musician. Obviously, feelings are very, very important. It's part of the human experience to have those. But when you start building your life and catering your life around your feelings and where you think emotions are your vulnerability, yeah, women love vulnerability. You're just wearing your emotions on your sleeve, hoping that women are actually going to say what they mean and mean what they say. They don't. They don't care about. They don't want you to. They don't care about your feelings. Women don't care about men's feelings. Get the fuck out of here. Well, Rollo, that's very cynical. Yeah. You know why? Because men have expressed their feelings and nobody cared. That's why we're at where we're at right now. It's empiricism versus emotionalism. And it's only going to get worse before it gets better. And you're looking at a conflict. And the more we know, the more we have AI to do fact checks to like, I would never been able to write that book or write any other book in any other period in human history right now, because I would not have had as instant access to the information I needed to corroborate and to back up all of the things that other people have told me that they've always thought, but didn't have the words to articulate. I'm the one that articulated it for them. Well, why did they always think that? Well, they did, but they just didn't have the data and they didn't do the research to figure out, oh, am I right or am I wrong? Like I said, I just work here. I just did the groundwork for you guys. So with that said, I'm just going to leave you guys with this. I think Charlie Kirk was a great individual. I didn't always agree with him, but that's what made him a great individual. I don't always agree with Mike. I don't always agree with a lot of the people who you probably would think I would. And that's okay. That's what keeps things going. That's what keeps the dialogue going. It's when one person just shuts the other person up with a bullet. That's when things get out of hand. And you can't have open debate with people who openly want to kill you. So when liberal, by the way, Jubilee, when you are arranging the next, conservative in the middle of that ring of Zoomer kids there, understand you're part of the fucking problem. Same thing with Destiny, same thing with Not So Erudite, same thing with fucking Pierce Morgan. These guys don't care about right or wrong. They don't care about true or false. They only care about click-through rate, man. They only care about brand building. They only care about like getting eyes on a fucking screen. That's why Pierce Morgan will talk shit about that guy in Oxford and then have Destiny probably on tomorrow. He only cares about the same thing. He's just as guilty as Oxford is. He's just as filthy, just as dirty as Oxford is. Let's see. I don't always agree with you, Rollo, but that's why I like listening to you. That good. But then please keep listening. That's why you keep coming back. Please. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about objective debate of open inquiry. I hope I'm wrong sometimes. I want to be wrong because I hate where some of this shit goes. But I want people to tell me that. You can tell me I'm an asshole all day long and I'll agree with you. But tell me I'm wrong, and we're going to have a much longer, more substantive conversation as a result of that. Here's why I think you're wrong about this. And I'm going to list all of these things. And so let's have this discussion and this back and forth, point, counterpoint. Great. We can do that. Rollo, fuck you. You're an asshole. End of conversation. You're right. What am I going to do about it? But anyways, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Let's see. Access Vegas on Wednesday. We will have right here in this studio on this table, we will have Sterling Cooper is going to be our male guest. So we got Sterling coming in, who is also going to be in here tomorrow doing his mystery interview with somebody who he's not telling us, and probably for good reason. But Sterling's going to be as of tomorrow, I think. What is today? The 14th. Yeah, he'll be on the 15th through the 18th. Sterling Cooper is in Las Vegas. I'm going to see if I can't get a straight up one-on-one with him, or maybe me and Mike can get him in studio as well. But he will be the male guest on Access Vegas on Wednesday, so that'll give you something to look forward to. I'm going to see if I can handpick some of the girls for that one too. Okay. We got to get some sex working girls in there so that people can call me a liberal degenerate even more. So yeah, you're a hedonist, girl. No, I am a sensualist. There's a difference. But anyways, so we will have Sterling Cooper will be in for that one. And let's see. I think Mike is going to do a debate series of some sorts, but I think he's in friendly territory. He's supposed to be going, I think it's in Los Angeles. He's going on somebody's show, and I wish I remembered who it was. Maya Sophia. I would love to have Maya in here. It's funny. Maya texted me during the Today Show. I just didn't say anything about it. She wanted to know where I live in Las Vegas. So if she's in town, I should go look it up. I still have her on my Find Friends. Last I looked, she was in Hawaii. So if I can get Maya in, I'd love to. Anyway, so we have Sterling Cooper Wednesday. I'll be back on Sunday once again. Stay safe out there. Yes. One last point. I am highly sensitive and highly aware that I have a target on my back. Myron has a target on his back. Matt Walsh, a lot of these other guys. And so, yes, are we taking precautions? I don't do those events anyways. I don't go to colleges and say, change my mind. I would rather write a book and spend my time writing a book than going and wasting my time doing something like that. But for other people, it's worthwhile. But Myron is acutely aware of it, in case if you didn't already know. And so is Mike, and we talked about this. So yes, we stay safe out there. We'll stay safe. God bless. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Would you do it again? I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time, but I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. All right. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now. I know the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time came by and went over like a matchbox stereo. Time to get my thoughts now. Let it go. Bound to guilty. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. You can have the best in my life.
Oh, gnarly!
Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up everywhere. Why don't got your hair? Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty? Ugh.
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stubbing with her head like she's Claudia Kelly.
Well, I'm a whore.
Run me, ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song, getting nasty, working up and down on your body. Run me, ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all night. Maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know.
Say my
Maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Where the Cheetos?
Preceding podcast has been a production of the Rational Mail. All rights reserved. Registered trademark 2025. And don't steal Charlie stuff.
Goddamn right.
FBI, open up! And maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. And maybe we can fuck again,
You're wrong.
Bye, Felicia.
God wants you to have the baby.